recording at Frosted Nug Productions. This is our general trigger warning. This podcast discusses death, child loss, suicide, mental health, and grief. We are not trauma professionals or therapists. We offer no professional advice, and our opinions do not reflect the opinions of our employers or their associates. We are just two friends with a lot of life experiences who want to help others. Welcome to Because of Eli. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Erica. We have a returning guest. We're very excited to have Brock with us again.
You're our second returning guest.
Yes,
That's so exciting.
It is exciting.
I feel special. I'm happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
We're very picky about who comes on. So.
Yes, absolutely.
So you know the drill.
Yeah.
But Amy, tell us what we're here to talk about today.
So today we're going to talk about what it's like to be a nurse in the emergency room and kind of give our listeners an opportunity to kind of see it from the nursing perspective, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll try and give everyone a little peek kind of behind the curtain without showing too many of our secrets.
Yeah.
So doctors and nurses out there, please don't worry. I will not tell all of our secrets, but I'm going to hopefully educate.
You don't want people treating themselves at home.
Today's purpose is to educate and entertain.
Yes.
So that hopefully the healthcare industry will be better after today.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's our goal.
That's my goal. That's my goal today.
Yes.
We want everyone to be better after each episode.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we can start with, though, what did we do for ourselves this week?
So Jack and I went to Fort Delaware.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so you take a little boat ride from Fort Mont to Fort Delaware, and then you can walk around. It was really nice. I enjoyed it.
Did you go on one of the smoky days?
No.
Oh, good.
Thank goodness. No, we were fortunate. We missed that.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was beautiful.
My eyes are burning. It's from all the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like just you guys or was there a bunch of people there?
There actually wasn't that many.
No.
Yeah, so we may have passed maybe 10 people total the whole time we were on there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you came from the New Jersey
Fort Mont.
side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Because you can go from Delaware City.
Yes, that same ferry, which I didn't know till we were on the ferry, will take you to Fort Delaware. Also take you to Delaware City.
Oh.
Yeah, so
that's a
you
cute
could
little
ride that
town.
ferry to Delaware City. I don't know what's there.
In Delaware City?
Yeah.
Lots of stuff's there.
Really?
There's a lot of, it's a cute little town. It's got a little main street with a bakery and restaurants and stuff like that. And you can wander. And there's like trails and stuff.
Oh. Well, then maybe I'll do
I think
that.
you should do
Yeah,
that too.
just keep riding the ferry.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Take one more stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It'd be a cute place to stop for lunch.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good to know for the future.
Yeah. Thanks for calling. It's fine.
I'm sorry. Well,
That close to Delaware.
well, you were away.
Uh-huh.
You were. Because I actually thought about it. And I was like, oh, no, she's on the beach right now.
On the beach.
Yes.
That was awful. That is the thing I did for myself.
Yes.
I took a day off. We went down to Delaware Beach. Delaware Beach is in Rehoboth. And I took the day off. We went to the water park.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the smokiest day, but it was a smoky day.
Yeah.
Because you climb up to the top of the slide or whatever, and it's just like, I'm like, I can taste the smoke. This is a poor decision
Yeah.
we're making, but I only have one day off, and we need to take
I shouldn't be outside right
advantage.
now, but I have to.
But I have to be, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have the weekend off to
That's
do
it,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep.
Luckily, the water park is within walking distance of the beach house, so
not
we
bad.
could walk and take clean air breaks.
Clean air breaks.
Like, okay, let's go so we don't die. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Reminds me
next
of
day,
COVID times, yeah.
it really, yeah.
You just stop and clean everything for a little bit, and then
Yeah.
go back and do what you're doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, I just need to take my mask off for a little bit.
Yeah. And put it in this paper bag.
And then I got the paper bags.
Yeah.
That was just a bizarre. It was like
was
bizarre
so
overall.
weird.
It really
Especially
was.
working in healthcare, that was
Yeah.
just. I can't believe this is happening right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Most of the days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband works in a major hospital system, and they were, for a minute, telling them, you can't bring your own masks from home.
Yeah.
But they were giving them crap masks.
Yeah.
And they were like making them use them over and over
That's
again.
what I was gonna
But he couldn't
say,
bring in a
yeah.
95 from home.
Yeah.
That was not okay.
I remember at one point we were told you have to initial the inside,
Yeah.
put it in this bin. They're going to go clean it and bring it back.
Right.
to
They
you.
were going to
Yeah.
clean
Yeah.
it.
I
No
was
thanks.
like, I don't know. That doesn't
Pretty
sound
sure
right.
writing on it like degrades the integrity of it,
Yeah.
but who knows?
They're
Unclear.
just trying to make it work, you know.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Your turn.
So this week I kind of did the same thing last time. I play golf once a week, hopefully, and I did that. Played really well. And
Very good.
I did my Tai Chi again this morning. I try and do it like 3 or
So
4
very
times.
important.
Yeah. Try and do it 3 or 4 times a week if I can. And I did it this morning too. This is a benefit of being a return celebrity guest on
Yes.
a world famous podcast.
Yes.
Is you can correct the mistakes you made the first time. So I have the name of my tiny monk man and how your listening audience and viewing audience can find him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on YouTube. I can't even pronounce it honestly because I'm gonna spell it. It's Qigong meditation.
Okay.
Qigong. I'm guessing it's Qigong, but that's
Okay.
the guy. That's my tiny monk man.
All right.
I recommend everybody give him a shot. His videos are like 10 minutes long. It won't take you long.
Okay.
But it helps. It makes you feel good.
How badly I want to pronounce him like a Star Wars character, though. Qui-Gon Jinn.
He kind of looks like one a little bit. Yeah.
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 And
I highly recommend it.
I may or may not have seen a video of you doing your Tai Chi.
Oh, did you really?
I didn't get the video. Excuse me.
No. Oh, that cannot make it to the real world. That's you have to edit that part out. But yes, I do that 3 or 4 times a day, and I feel good
Yeah.
afterwards for sure. Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
Erica, it was recorded from the bedroom window too, just like we
was
talked
it?
about.
I am doubly felt left out now.
You can show Erica off air. But the rest of the world, you just got to imagine
Yes.
the majesty that it would be my Tai Chi.
Yes.
We're saving it for the OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Tai Chi
Yep.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to go viral.
That's the way, for sure. All the good work we do, that's going to do it. All right. So, were you done? We kind of went off topic.
Yeah.
And you
I
got
know.
shocked by the video
I know,
appearance.
sorry.
That's all.
That
that's,
is what he did.
that's
I
what
think
I
Jack
did,
could
yeah.
cut in the video, though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I mean, he looks, but I understand you don't want other people to see that. But-
Just you watch Little Tiny Monk Man. Just imagine you
yeah,
doing the same. moves.
exactly.
It looks
You look
basically like
just like
Little
him.
tiny.
that. Not
just
really.
like him.
Not at all. Not even close. But the moves are the same.
Yes.
The majestic moves are
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah. You're gonna have to.
Awesome. Well, we know you came prepared because you always come
Yes.
prepared.
So, well, you wanted to go over like your background, but you guys want
Yeah.
to talk about your.
Okay.
I think it's
backgrounds
important if
first?
we're going to talk about work in healthcare that everybody kind of understand a little bit about where we both come from. We've talked about it on early episodes, like kind of some of our background, but thought it would be good to bring that up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how in depth do we want to do? Just
Oh, well, I don't know. I've got all the depth, but
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I can start and then you can decide.
you can
How
start.
about
Yeah,
that?
you start and yes.
Because I didn't go into nursing originally. That wasn't
me
my
neither.
first career,
I'm
right?
a retread. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
But when I was 18, I joined the fire company, became an EMT, so had like multiple years of that kind of medical experience. So, you know,
that's a
seeing
huge help too. I see it
it's
in
massively
nurses
helpful.
who become nurses after being like EMTs and firefighters.
Yeah.
Makes a difference for sure.
It does, and it's a whole different understanding of like it, which is funny because as a nurse, I have less free will in treatment than I do as an EMT because
Yeah.
EMTs have standing orders. I can
Yeah.
give oxygen without like
Right.
calling anyone. I could do all that,
Yeah.
but in nursing, it's very different. You have to wait even for the most simple of
Sometimes,
things.
sometimes the most simple stuff I gotta wait for someone else
Yeah.
to tell me to do it.
No, I
even though know
cannot
it's-
put you on oxygen because I
Yeah.
do not have an order. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. So I did that for like 5 years, like before and through college, and then worked in actually nonprofit, did community outreach and community service and fundraising for nonprofits, and then went back to nursing school as a full-fledged adult, which is weird. I mean, you probably experienced
I
it.
did the
Being
same,
an
yeah.
adult learner is just when you're surrounded by like kids who just came out of
Yeah.
high school and now are
Yeah.
in college, and you're like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have children. That's how I felt. Like
Yeah.
I have kids, and I'm
Well,
in school with kids.
and it's more of like, you know, college is just so different than high school, and they're learning that, and they're
Yeah.
realizing like they can't just
Like,
blow
oh,
it
I
off.
actually have to do
they
the
have
work
to
here,
actually
yeah.
learn it. Yeah. So finished that up and went right into hospice. Actually, it was like my first job right out of nursing school was
That's
hospice.
kind of a crazy transition,
Yeah.
right from nursing school right straight to hospice.
Straight to hospice. Then did a few other things in the interim because I was PRN at hospice, and the good thing was they needed me a lot, but then I trained all my replacements. So it was like they'd hire someone full time and I'd take them out and train them in the job. And then they'd be like, now we don't have hours for you because we have a full-time person. Like, okay. So I worked a little bit. I went and taught a little bit A&P back at the college, and then worked in a little bit of skilled care, doing like education and stuff because I had my background in that.
Yeah.
But then went full-time at hospice, worked as the director of admissions in Katybug in pediatric hospice care. And then right after COVID was just like, that's enough full-time work. No, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Got a couple PRN jobs. So I've worked in pediatrics, in medically fragile children, and worked as a school nurse and worked as a camp nurse, which is like the most fun job in the whole world, to be honest, outside all summer and with the animals. It was great.
Yeah, all the s'mores you can eat. Just
For real, honestly. And what else have I done? I feel like I've done more than that. I worked in mental health for like a little bit. Didn't love that because my husband worked there too. And we both were like, red flags. Because my husband works in mental health still, but he's on a unit now.
That is a tough field. I mean, as you'll see, I have a little taste of what it's like to work in mental health, but as a full-time worker, it's tough.
Mental health is my passion.
Yeah.
And that's what it has to be if you want
It's
to be full-time.
it's good if you work somewhere that does it well,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
or
that's
like
it.
has
Yeah.
the right rhythm and is it for the right reasons. There's just
and
too
it's
much
really
for
hard.
profit in mental health
Yes.
now. It's just so hard to just not like pull on the insurance companies and just like, oh, they said we can have you for 5 days. We're gonna have you for 5 days whether you're better or not.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard.
Or
like, oh,
even-
now you have to leave because your insurance is
That's
done.
what I was going to say. Releasing people before they're ready
Yeah.
because of insurance.
And the other problem is even getting that far in the first place. Just
Yeah.
the resources
Yeah.
can be so scarce. It's hard to get people to where they want to
1000%.
get to.
Yeah.
And then once they get there, do they still want to be there?
Right.
So
that's
it's like
big
the
issue,
most
yeah.
frustrating thing because not only
Yeah.
are patients who need mental health support difficult at times because they don't always know they need the help,
Right.
but then on top of it, you're fighting a system.
Yes.
And it's just, it's
Yeah.
so frustrating.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And
frustrating.
it's frustrating for the people trying to get you the help
Yes.
Yes.
as well as the people who need the
Yeah.
help. So it's like
It is
I'm here
very-
with you, man.
Yeah.
I'm
But
trying.
you're an enemy
Yes.
at that point.
You are because you're the face of
Yes.
all their roadblocks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a tough position
Yeah,
to be in. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, so I've got a little bit of all of that in
All
there.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, that did
Okay,
help.
great.
That did help. So I also went back to school to be a nurse, but was always in healthcare the whole time. So I graduated high school. I went to school to do medical coding. So I did that for like 5 years. It was for emergency rooms. And then I was like, I'm not a sit behind a desk kind of person. Like 5 years of that, I'm like, So I decided I was going to start this path by being a CNA. So I worked in a nursing home for like 6 months, and I was like, I am not a
that's
CNA.
rough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I started working in the emergency room as a tech. So I did that. Then I started working for Dr. Black, who's a podiatrist. I did say his name, but because we weren't naming things, but I think it's safe to say his name. I worked for him for a long time, almost 10 years as his assistant. And I learned a lot from him. I really did. So I learned a lot of like wound care and all that. So I went back to school, became a nurse, and my first nursing job was in corrections. And, let me back up a little bit. I was a 911 dispatcher at a time as well. So that's how I got my connection to get into the correctional facility, because our warden was the director of emergency management at the time. So I had already worked under him before. So once I got my nursing license, I reached out. I was like, well, I have this contact. Let me try to use this. My first nursing job. Reached out. Hey, would you hire me? Absolutely. So I went for my interview, and the DON was like, this is just a formality. I've already been told that I'm hiring you.
That's rather high places. Yeah.
Yes. So
Except they had an immediate opening as well. Also a little bit of a red flag in nursing.
Exactly. So I did that for 8 years. Loved it. Still love it. But in that, I also learned to love psych, because that's mostly what jail is.
Yeah.
And, I went on to work as a unit manager in a psych hospital, and I was also the manager at a wound care center, actually 2 wound care centers, director of nursing at a assisted living. So, And I worked for a hot second as a nurse in hospice, but it was for a different hospice, and I did not like them at all. So that didn't last long. But that's pretty much my background. But I also went back to school as an adult, so I definitely feel the pain of going back, and you're trying to still work full time. You know, some of us have kids while we're in school. Yeah, so you still got to work. Yeah. When I went back for my RN, I was still working full time at the jail. Oh no, at that time I was public health too. I forgot public health. I did public health as well. So I was working at the health department full time. I worked at the jail at the time part time on the weekends, and then I was in nursing school full time. And some of these, lucky for them, I'm not bashing them, but the younger folks, they're living at home with mom and dad. They're not working. School is the only thing they had to focus on. And I'm like, so jealous.
Yeah, right?
I hate you guys so much.
Yes. But, you know, we did it.
Yeah. I think it meant more because, you know, I was paying for it. I was like, I got to do good.
Exactly.
Because this is my dollar right now. It's not mom and dad's money.
Yeah.
100%.
That's a lot. You've been on like kind of every side of like the healthcare.
Yeah.
You know, from management to tech and everything. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Your turn.
I don't want to step on your toes.
No,
if you had more
Nope.
kudos for yourself, I wanted to let you get them out. So I myself, when I originally graduated high school, went to college to be a teacher, believe it or not. And I got to my junior year of college, and the governor of the state I was in at the time had changed the education standards that would have kept me in school for another 2 years to graduate with the teaching. It would be like a 6-year college degree to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So my only other option as a junior, because most of my upper level classes were like history, because I was going to be secondary ed social studies. So it was either education classes or history classes were my upper level ones. He's like, to get out of college with a degree in any kind of time, you can just change your major to history and get a history degree and then go be a teacher if you want. So I said, all right, did that. So graduated the history degree, my first 4-year college, came back to Jersey and found out that teachers don't make any money at all. So I was like, well, this doesn't make sense, because it was going to cost me an extra like $5,000, I think, to get the degree I needed to be a teacher. I was like, well, this is less money than I'm already making at the job I was at. So eventually I was just sitting around at a backyard party one time, and a friend of the family said to me, you know, you are a really friendly person. You would have a great bedside manner. You would be a great nurse. So I was like, yeah, probably I could do that. And then I was like, waved it off, finished my hot dog, we finished the barbecue. And like the next day, it just kind of just stuck in my head. And I just Googled it, like, what do nurses make? How would I get to be a nurse? And the next thing I know, I'm enrolled in nursing school and got an associate's degree. And then after that, so once you get an associate's degree, you are an RN, like you're a registered nurse. You can get a job as a nurse and put in IVs and give meds and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of places don't want the associate's degree. They want you to have a bachelor's. So a lot of places will hire you with it, but they'll be like, on the condition in the next X amount of years, you're going to be working on getting your bachelor's. Otherwise, give you the boot. So that's eventually what I did. So I did online to get my bachelor's. So I'm bachelor's degree in nursing. And as far as I'm concerned, that's as much schooling as I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not a whole lot of fun. I don't feel like, the online nursing school, it was good because it got me to where I wanted to get to, but it didn't make me a better nurse. I felt at that point, I was already a nurse for probably 5 or 6 years by the time I started that whole process. And I was like, this doesn't make me better at what I do. It's just busy work.
It's just writing papers.
Yeah. So more of that to get a master's for me isn't, I'm good. Because a master's degree, when you get a master's degree as a nurse, that means you're kind of advancing to the next level, and a lot of that takes you away from the bedside. You're in management and whatever, and that's not me. I'm not a management person.
Management or prescribing. It's like you pick a path once you start going to that advanced degree.
Or you're putting in orders and stuff. So that's really not where I'm at. So anyway, so why do I know anything about the ER? It's probably the most important thing for your listeners. Actually, before I want to do my own personal disclaimer. I know you guys do like disclaimer in the beginning, but so I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff in the ER. I've been an ER for a long time, as you'll see. So anything I say is my own personal view. It has nothing to do with anyone else's point of view as far as I'm concerned. I am going to talk about things that happen in the emergency room. It's all going to be in the very most general terms I can make it. It's not one specific hospital I've worked at that these things happen. It's not one specific doctor that these things have happened to. These are probably situations I've seen hundreds of times over the course of my career. So a lot of the situations and things I'm going to talk about are just very general things. I also want to make a disclaimer. I have no religious affiliation whatsoever. Don't go to church or anything like that. I believe no one knows what's going to happen. The only people who know what's going to happen are already dead. They can't tell us. So I have no religious affiliation or agenda that I'm going to be pushing. I won't be using anyone's names except for when I give someone kudos. So a couple of people I'm going to throw out who really helped me along my career. And then I kind of went through what it takes to become an RN. Like you have to get an associate's, and then you could be an RN and then a bachelor's degree. And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about like the structure of kind of like the hospital system, the structure of the ER. Mm-hmm. So as far as my background, I graduated from nursing school back in December 2012. Got my first job in 2013. I worked on the floor. I wasn't an ER nurse to start. My first job in nursing was on a cardiac floor. It's like a step down floor, so you're like watching people's heart rates and that kind of stuff for most of your shift. Did that for about a year, and then I wanted to just change up what I was doing, and I said the ER sounds really interesting, so I got my first ER job about a year later. I did that for about, I guess, 7 to 8 years, and then around 2022 I got into travel nursing, which I think is probably important to talk a little bit about that. So like a regular staff nurse, you just go into whatever hospital you work at, you do your 12-hour shifts, your 3 12-hour shifts, you work 36 hours, you're done for the week. If you want to put in overtime, whatever you can. What a travel nurse is kind of like a nurse that fits a spot when the hospitals are in dire need of nursing, which pretty much every hospital system is in dire need of nursing right now. If you need a job, go get a job as a nurse. But as you'll find out, it's not easy to do. Don't do it unless you want to. But so my job as a travel nurse is I work for like an agency, and the hospitals will contact this agency and say, hey, we need X amount of ER nurses by like next week. So a travel nurse has to be a plug and play nurse. Like they'll tell my agency, we need nurses. I'll see the job on my agency's website, be like, that looks like a hospital I would work at. Put me in. They say, yes, we'll hire you. Show up on whatever day, and we'll put you to work. So you have to be, as a travel nurse, on day one, you have to hit the floor ready to take a patient load and take care of patients. I've been my first day as a travel nurse. They gave me 2 hours of training. They gave me like my codes to get in all the med machines and the Akidose and that kind of stuff. And then 4 hours later, I had an assignment that had 8 patients in it that I was taking care of. And I was transferring a guy out by helicopter and all kinds of stuff. So you got to be ready. You got to know what you're doing. You got to be confident in your skill set to be able to hit the floor like that. So I don't think I would have been. I see like a lot of nurses, like new nurses, are like, "Hey, I can't wait to like get my year or two in, and then I want to just go ahead and start making that travel nurse money." But you got to be confident to do that, because otherwise it's not safe for you, not safe for your patients. But I probably wouldn't have been confident to be a travel nurse until I would say like 5 years in to my ER experience, because it takes a while to build up the skill set, to build up the knowledge, to see the things that you don't expect, the things that you don't see like in nursing books and stuff. Yeah. So I've been doing that since about 2022, I guess. So which I enjoy. It's kind of nice. So the way travel nursing works, again, the hospital will contact my agency. They say, we need this travel nurse. And usually contracts you sign for 13 weeks. So I'll go to this hospital. I'll work there for 13 weeks. When the contract is up, if they still need me, I can extend. If they don't need me, I go look for another hospital that needs me, so on and so forth. So the reason people do that is it is very lucrative. So as a staff nurse, if you're a baby nurse, like coming right out of school right now, I would guess the pay rate is probably like 35 to 45-ish an hour, depending on where you're working and the need. I'm not going to tell you what I make, but anyone is more than welcome to go on Evel Travel Nursing website and look at the jobs they're offering, because they tell you how much they pay you like per week. And the numbers that you see on that website are truly what I make. That's the money I see in my pocket every week. But there is a trade-off. Like, if I get to a hospital and it's horrible, I got to stick it out. I'm there for 13 weeks. And I have been to a hospital like that where I've gotten there like, this is not a safe place for me to work. Like, I've got the patient load is way too high. They're giving me patients that are way too sick and no support. And I was like, I got to get out of here because this is bad. But a lot of places are happy to have you because they need you. They're short-staffed. And they need people who know what they're doing. If you're a good travel nurse, you can, like I said, you jump in, you get to work, and you know what you're doing. You can handle yourself. So I've been doing that, and I really enjoy it. So something else I wanted to talk about, too, because I was thinking about this before I came on. I was like, man, I've been doing this since, 2013 was my first job. And I was trying to think, like, I must have taken care of like a gazillion patients by now. So I ran some just rough numbers.
Yeah.
So
Gazillion is a good estimate.
yeah. So this number I'm estimating is very low. So roughly, so most nurses, you're going to work a 12-hour shift 3 times a week. You work 36 hours is a full nurse's week, which people are like, oh, you get 4 hours off? Not really, because you usually don't have time to pee.
Exactly. Or eat.
But so if I roughly would see around 14 patients per shift, 3 shifts a week for a year for 13 years. That comes out to 28,392 patients I have taken care of. That number is incredibly low because I work a lot of 16-hour shifts, work a lot of overtime. You know, I've taken travel contracts that are 4 days a week, like every week. Like that's your base
mandatory
pay of mandatory 4 days a week.
Yeah.
So it's probably a lot lower.
Also, not just assigned to you, but you're also assisting with other patients that aren't necessarily your patients.
And that's not taking into account either like a triage shift. If you're in triage, you're going to see, you could see 100 plus patients in a day that you're essentially responsible for at least a short period of time. So I looked up some numbers as well, just to give everyone who doesn't know anything about nursing a little education here. Recommended RN to patient ratios. This is a huge topic for any nurse. I guarantee you, anytime you see a nurse strike, that's one of the things they're talking about. So this I looked up on the interweb. You're all welcome to go on the Matrix and find your own information. But this I found from the ANA, which is the American Nurses Association. So their recommended RN to patient ratio. So if you're in the ICU, it should be 1 nurse to 2 patients max, which that makes sense. Because if you're in the ICU, you're circling the drain. You need a lot of extra care. You need a nurse that can spend a lot of time with you. Makes sense. In the OR, a PACU and labor and delivery, that's like a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 because those patients also are very sick. They have very critical, conditions that they need a nurse eyes on kind of all the time. Makes sense. Pediatrics recommended is 1-to-4. Med surg. So med surg nursing is kind of like the most kind of like basic version of nursing that's in the hospital. So those patients aren't super sick, but they're not well enough to go home just yet. They need to be monitored or given some meds to get over whatever they're dealing with.
But
so
I feel like it's a crazy mix of patients.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be. You can have the crazy, like they could put people on med surg that don't belong on med surg. We got no place else to put them.
If they've got overflow, they're just going to shove them
onto
put
med
surg, and it could be like a trauma.
Yeah, it's like you have an RN license, whether you're a med surg nurse, you have an RN license, you can care for this patient whether you want to or not. Whether it's not within your normal skill set, you still RN, you still do it. Yeah. So that can be tough for a med surg nurse. So you're not used to that kind of thing. So that recommendation is 1-to-5. I guarantee you they're in the 6, 7, 8 area probably most days. In the ER, this is what's funny to me. The recommended is 1-to-4, so 1 nurse to 4 patients. If you have a critical patient, that ratio is supposed to drop down to 1-to-2, like an ICU. I haven't seen a 1-to-4 ratio in the emergency room since well before COVID. Every hospital I've worked at, it's the very minimum I get in the ER if I have a regular assignment is 1-to-5. It's usually 1-to-5, 1-to-6 bed assignment. So, which that's tough when you have, especially when you have really sick patients, like someone who needs a lot of your attention. Your other 4 or 5 patients are just sitting there waiting on you because every other nurse in the department has that same assignment. They all got 4, 5, 6 patients, all need stuff. So that's why the ER can get crazy. It's also a real good reason why things can take really long in the ER. Like people get fed up in the ER, and I get it because you're sitting there and you're sick and you're not feeling good, and you just want someone to come and fix you and make you feel better. Yeah. And I guarantee you, we're trying. It's just we got a lot of people that are in the same boat as you that we're trying to fix all of them. Yeah. And it's hard to kind of, balance like who's the sickest that we got to see right away, who can we fix and get out really quick too, so it's that's a lot of trying to.
And coming in by ambulance does not make you seem faster at all. And there's a lot of misconceptions.
And I was also going to say, as a nurse, you have like a little short window of seeing them and making that decision very quickly. Like, I need you to see you right now. I got to pull you back right now, or you can sit. And that might change from the initial decision.
And that's huge. That's one of the things I'll talk about too. The triage process is such an important skill to have. And it's important for the hospital, so for the ER itself as a unit to run really well. The triage nurses is a super important part of that because you kind of direct a lot of the flow. Or help get a lot of it started anyways. So, what else was I going to talk about? I think that was it. So there are like 2 different kind of, I could talk about the ER all day. I mean, we could go on for hours. I could talk about all the stuff I've seen and done in the ER, but I think the most kind of important thing to your listeners of your podcast, I was going to talk One, about the crisis process, what that's like to go, like if you're coming into the emergency room for a crisis evaluation, like if you're there because you are suicidal or you're having mental health issues, that the ER is one place you can go for that, and we will take care of you. But it's, as you'll see, it's not super easy. So I'm going to go through what the crisis process looks like from a nurse's standpoint, because I've been in the ER for however long I just said, and I've had every nurse's role in the ER. I've been the charge nurse, I've been the triage nurse, I've been just the grunt nurse, I've been the lunch relief. I've done everything a nurse can do. I've never been a tech in the ER, which in my opinion, shout out to the techs. They are probably the most underpaid people in healthcare. The techs, they are making not a lot of money for the work that they do. So I've done every role as a nurse in the ER. So I'm going to talk about what that kind of process looks like as a triage nurse, also as the nurse responsible for the patient, and how that can go really well and how that can go really bad. And then I was going to talk about codes, what it's like to be like as part of a code, like when someone's needing compressions and someone's have cardiac arrest. So the different ways that goes well and bad. So I guess first off, I'll start with like the crisis process. So there's basically the way it goes. If you need to come to the emergency room because you're in crisis, you're having a mental health problem, you're feeling suicidal, you're feeling you're going to hurt someone else, you're more than welcome to walk through the front door and say, I'm suicidal. I think I need help. So they'll register you. You'll go to triage. You'll get vital signs. We will ask you all kinds of questions. This is where the triage process is important, not just for the mental health people, but for everyone, because there are certain questions we have to ask in triage, like, do you want to hurt yourself? Do you want to hurt anyone else? That's important, even if you're there because you had a splinter, you're signed in and you're in agony because you're like, my finger's going to fall off, a stupid splinter, you got to get this out. I still have to ask you, do you want to, and they're like, I don't care. Like, stop it. It's important to answer that and answer truthfully.
It's important to ask, as a nurse, to ask it in the correct way, because the follow-up to that, I've heard a lot of nurses say, you don't want to hurt yourself, do you?
Right.
Well, now if they were feeling it, the door's closed now.
Right, yeah. So the way I treat my crisis patients in triage is it's important because you can see like this on it. It'll say like mental health, you know, that's why they're here. So you sit them down. Sometimes they're very emotional. Sometimes they're still, I mean, you can get mental health is a huge rainbow of people. You can sit in front of you in the triage booth and tell you the craziest stories you have ever heard in your life. And you got to be poker face too. You got to, not only do you have to respect them, that's something that is huge on me, is like, no matter what this person says to you, you have to respect that is what they believe and how they feel.
And it's their reality now.
It's their reality.
It's their reality.
It may not be for real, but you gotta treat it as best you can within reason. Like you can't just like go like, oh yeah, I see all the spaceships too. Like no, but you have to be like, all right, well we'll see if we can help with your spaceship problem.
Yeah,
you know?
or like if I've had experiences where they're like, you can't see that. No, I can't. I'm not saying that you're not seeing it, but I can't see it.
Yeah. So that's hard to do. That's I think that's a skill that's important to develop as a nurse. It takes a while. I do that now. I wasn't there as a baby nurse like when I first. I was like, man, these people are weird. I'm scared of them. I don't want to talk to them too much if I don't have to. But the more you do, the better it gets.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I feel like not to pat myself on the back, but I guess I will. I feel like I was able to fine tune that because of corrections.
Yeah, and you have to because
you're de-escalating all day long.
Yeah, and that is huge. That's huge in a crisis situation. And there are people who do that really well and people who do that really bad because that can change the
listeners.
difference.
But let's talk about what de-escalation is, right? Because we're throwing out a lot of words and a lot of like
we gotta stop being
internal
nurses.
things.
Yes,
we gotta be laymen too.
And all the things you're saying, I can hear and I can understand, but you're so excited to share it and like really amped up. But let's like talk about a little bit of what this means. So when we talk about crisis, right, we're in mental health crisis.
Right.
Yes.
And oftentimes somebody then what we call escalated means they're higher energy, they're higher in their peak of whatever is going on with them, high emotions, and we're trying to just help ground them a little bit, try to get them at least somewhat around to even focusing on you, right? Because sometimes they're not even doing that. So we bring it down just a little bit.
And with the escalation isn't just yelling, but it can become physical. We don't, you don't want it to go in that direction. So it's like important to catch it early. As early as you can.
You can start to hear some of those things. You get used to some of those like things that we know start leading into like pacing, right? And like, or making other movements, not being able to sit down.
Right.
And we're, Let's
And
just
also,
bring them somewhere a little less stimulating.
Yeah, and I
right?
feel like one of the things that is consistent with a patient is them expressing that they're not being heard.
Yeah.
And I feel like then we're like really going to go now because
Yeah.
they're not being heard. They
It
just
can
need
be.
to be heard.
So that's one thing I think is important. So this is one of the things I talk to all of my crisis patients about, whether it's someone who's coming in with police, yelling and screaming and, trying to beat everyone up, or it's the most stoic, calm person who sits down and says, I think I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
I give them the same spiel. I was like, first of all, I ask them, have you ever been here for a crisis evaluation in the past? Whether they say yes or no, I tell them the same thing. I said, here's the way it's going to go. I'm going to do your triage. I'm going to take your vital signs. I'm going to take you to the behavioral health unit where I'm going to take you to. I'm going to take you to your spot. We have to medically clear you first. So what that means is like, we can't just like, a lot of people think when they come in for crisis, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to talk to somebody and they're going to get me where I need to go. It doesn't happen like that. You don't get to go in and just talk to a counselor right away. We have to do our due diligence in the ER first because you are in an emergency room, so you're in a medical setting. So we have to get, most times it involves getting some basic blood work to make sure that you're not having a medical emergency that we need to treat. We're going to get your alcohol level to make sure that you're not drunk because we can't place you if you're a drunk person. We can't come up with a medical plan with you if you're drunk because as soon as you're sober, all that's going to be null and void.
Right.
And they usually get urine to make sure that, you're not on some kind of crazy drug or something like that.
Right.
So that you see the medical doctor first. They do all of that work. They talk to you. Once the medical doctor is satisfied that you're a healthy person, you're okay, you're not going to die from a medical concern, then they put you on the list to be seen by a counselor. Sometimes that means the counselor's ready to go. They're, hey, I've been waiting to talk to you, waiting for this clearance. Let's go do your evaluation. Sometimes you wait because there are, depending on what hospital system you're at, like where you are. Like I've worked in hospital systems in the little tiniest communities, and I've worked in some of the biggest cities on the East Coast. So I've seen it go both ways. Sometimes you wait like sometimes days before you actually see someone. Like I've seen that happen too. So then you'll be seen by a counselor of some kind from whatever. Like I said, this is all general stuff. Like every hospital system has a different name for it, a different like version of what it is, but you'll be seen by someone who's qualified to evaluate you and get your story from you and find out what it is you want and what it is they can give you, what's available to you. And they'll usually contact other people who know your story too. They'll try and contact family or, they'll contact the police if you're brought in by police or like anyone who had anything to do with your story. They'll kind of do their best to get all sides of what's going on. And then they'll try to help you come up with a plan as to what's next. They can give you, this is what we can do for you. This is, what do you want to do? And sometimes that goes great. And there's like a bunch of different options. You can pick and choose what you want to do. Sometimes it's like, we don't have any place for you to go right now. We're still looking and you got to wait till we figure it out. And that can, again, I've seen that take over a week before for someone to find a spot to go. So just think about that. If you're sitting in the hospital for a week and we're telling you can't leave because you are not safe, to do so, you got to stay there for a week, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So that can just kind of really elevate the problem that you're having in the first place.
And sitting in the emergency room for a week, it's not like you're in a hospital room or
Sometimes those people are just like in a hallway. It's not like you have like a TV and stuff. It's like no, you're just out in the open sometimes because we get busy. There's no place else to put you.
Right.
Sometimes they get moved around. Like sometimes we'll put you in a room. Like hey, get some sleep. We got some space for you. Now it's like sometimes, hey, we got critical people coming. We got to pull you out because this is an ER, and put you in a hallway again or something. Unfortunately, that does happen from time to time.
Yeah.
We do our best to keep people comfortable in the first place. So I tell everyone, this is the process, and then we'll do what we can for you. So then on the other side, as a crisis nurse, when you're my patient as a crisis patient, I will tell you, look, this is where you're at. Again, explain the whole process because a lot of people are like, just get that person down here. I want to talk to them so I can go. I don't want to be here anymore. It's like, well, it doesn't work that way. It's going to take time. Again, that's the escalation. Like people can escalate. And I've found the most effective way to de-escalate is just do your very best to stay calm.
Yes.
And be honest with them.
Yes.
Like don't tell them you're going to do something that you can't do.
Right.
That's either a positive thing or a negative thing.
Right.
You tell them, I'm going to medicate you. You got to be like, you got to medicate them.
Yeah.
Or if you tell them like, all right, I'm going to go get you something to eat, you got to go get them something to eat.
Yep. Have to be consistent.
It's the
only way you can get them to trust you.
And I feel like it's more important to show this kind of person, the person who's really popping off. I feel like it's more important to try and show that person respect because they'll respond to it more. Like, look, I understand you're in a situation you don't want to be in. I don't have the ability to let you out. I can't Like if you try to leave, we're going to send the cops after you're going to come back. It's going to take you longer. These are the things I can do for you. If you want something, ask me. I will get it if I can. If I can't get it, I'll tell you I can't get it. And if I can tell you why, I'll tell you why, but this is where you are. Do your best to stay calm.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people will respond to that. And if you, as long as you're honest with them and you're consistent, like, I'm going to bring you a sandwich, and you go bring them a sandwich. Sometimes you got to talk to them, be like, hey, I'm going to go get you a sandwich, but I have 8 other patients too.
Right.
It might take me a while to get your sandwich here. So don't go yelling at people if your sandwich don't show up in the next 5 minutes.
Right.
So, I mean, that happens a lot too. But again, if you show respect, you're going to get it back a lot more often than not. And I have to shout out to a lot of security guards are really important in that situation, because security guards have a tough job too. I mean, anyone who works in the ED and collects a paycheck from what they do in the ED is underpaid, in my opinion, because it can be very, very hard no matter what you're doing. If you're food services, if you're the person cleaning out the trash cans, that can be a rough environment to just be in on a daily basis, day in and day out. So the security guards especially have a rough time because they're dealing with the most unruly people. When I'm like, I can't do anything else, I need security here. I need you guys to like take care of this or whatever. Right. So some security guards I worked with a guy named George. He was great. His thing was, he was always wanted people, when he's talking to someone who was getting out of control, he wanted them to just open up their hands, because a lot of people get their, their face like, look, I know you're upset. You can yell at me if you want to. It's fine. All I'm asking you, just open your hands up. You can leave them like that. Just open your hands up. And a lot of times people just that act alone, it would help them kind of relax and de-escalate. Just one notch at a time is all you got to do. And is if you can get them down. But sometimes there'll be like something that happens and then they just ramp right back up. Like wrong person walks in, says the wrong thing. Yep. And then that's why it's important to have the right team around you, because sometimes people don't care. Be like, hey, man, if you don't be quiet, we're going to tie you down and lock you up. Like, oh, man, you can't do that. You gotta,
and sometimes, just like you said, somebody can walk in and just trigger them. You might look like somebody, you remind them of somebody, and then they're so focused on that person. Now you've lost them because they're focused on that person. Yeah. And that person has to accept that they have to, you got to go. Like, you can't be here anymore.
I actually have a funny story about that one time. We were dealing with a crisis patient. He was my patient. I was a nurse. I wasn't in the crisis unit. I was in the regular ER, but we had no place so much. So we got him in. He was off his meds. He was just one of these people, schizophrenic, just kind of all over the place. So the doctor was sitting down talking to him, and I usually try to go in with the doc so I can hear what they're saying. Just there's a little extra body in there. Yeah. So I just stood by the door. The doctor was already talking to him. I just stood by the door and just sat there, and he looked at me and goes, "You play too much, man." And I was like, okay, I'm going to go grab some coffee. Yeah. You guys let me know if you need me to get labs ready on later. So, and I did. I walked away, and he went right back to talking to the doctor, and everything was fine. And I came in later. I was like, hey, I'm Brock. I'm going to be your nurse. I got to get some labs. He's like, all right, man, go ahead. Yeah. And I was like, all right. There's just that one situation where he didn't like the cut of my jib. I was like, I'm one step away right now. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to be, situational awareness is huge as an RN, especially in the ED. Yeah. You got to know what's going on around you.
Absolutely.
I don't know, I guess. Is there any other questions about like the crisis process, I guess?
Well, I guess we kind of already talked about sometimes they sit and wait, which is difficult. And it's obviously for the patient, but also the family. Yeah. Because, they want to know what's going on and they
can't be there all the time either. They have other family members they're trying to take care of too.
Exactly. Yeah. And on the other side of that, the psych hospitals. So when, crisis says, yes, they need to be admitted somewhere, and then the hospital's working on trying to find placement, that request goes out to multiple hospitals. Yeah. So there's multiple hospitals looking at this person. And basically it's like first come, first serve, whoever can get them. So even as a patient, you don't necessarily have any control over where you're going. Yeah. If you went somewhere before and you did not have a good experience, but this is the place that picked you up first, that's unfortunately
and we'll run into that a lot too. Like, we get people who have to go through the system multiple times, obviously in this kind of disease process, and they'll be like, I went there before, I hated it there, I don't want to go back. Or we'll be like, hey, I went to this one place before, can I go back there? I did a really good job. And like, oh, well, now your insurance doesn't cover it.
Right. Or there's not a bed available. That happens.
Yeah. So there's like basically the whole process of like the triage process, the medical evaluation, the psych eval, and then your dispo. Those are basically the 4 steps of your crisis kind of trajectory through the ER. But any one of those can get held up for who knows how long. Yeah. You can be held up because, like, I've been held up before where they've spent like 3-4 days trying to find this guy placement, and they finally found him. It's like, all right, I'll agree to go. He's going to go. And the ambulance shows up at 3:00 in the morning to put him on the stretcher, take him, and he's like, I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
I changed my mind. I'm just going to, and he walked out and went back on the streets and
Yeah.
kept living his life. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
the hospital resources that got expended to try and get that guy
Right.
the help that he said he wanted.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, but they can do that. Patient can do that. Just
Yeah.
change their mind. There's no law
Yeah.
against it. He wasn't,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's part of where my frustration comes in too, because there, you know, we wouldn't allow people to make decisions if they're not of sound mind. If
Mhm.
you're in crisis, you can't, in my opinion, be deemed that you're of sound mind to make a decision. If someone came in with dementia, for example, and they said, nope, I can go home and take care of myself, we would never do that
Yeah.
because it wouldn't be a safe discharge.
Right. Yeah.
But we're comfortable with, just all the way around, we're comfortable with somebody coming in crisis and then saying, I feel better now, I'm good, I can go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's kind of funny because sometimes that'll work and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it'll be like, I'm good, I can go. I'm like, nah, you have to stay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll
But
be like,
only if a judge says, you know, they're being committed.
yeah,
and
and
then
that's
they
where you
don't
get a
have
slippery slope
choice.
too. It's tough
Yeah.
to say who's allowed to make that
Right,
call too,
right.
especially as a nurse. Like I can't make that call. I gotta
Right.
try to find the right person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to who is the right person
Right.
to say yes or no to that. You know, that can be always tough too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of great, like, if you're comparing dementia to mental health, there's no, like, home health care for psych.
No, there's not.
It's
but
not
I'm
like a
just saying
dementia
we wouldn't
patient that you
allow
right,
a
but
dementia
but
patient
part
to
of that comes from
determine-
there's only one option.
Yeah.
There's an option that you walk out the door onto the street or back home into whatever led you to where you were, or you go to a hospital where you're also confined for 24 hours a day. So like the options aren't pretty
right.
Yeah.
in psych.
Right.
Right. It's a little bit better in a dementia care
Yeah.
or like there's other options out there.
Well,
right?
that's what I mean. But
yeah.
but I feel like we shouldn't base the decision on somebody's safety, their well-being, on is there resources. Why aren't there resources?
Yeah.
Why isn't
Right.
something in place?
Yeah.
for
No one's
those
disagreeing that the
circumstances?
system is broken.
Yeah.
The system is 100%
Yeah.
broken.
Yeah, but it just is frustrating to me when, you know, they're allowed to leave, and I'm totally on board with people. It's their care. It's
Adults are allowed to make bad decisions
Right.
when it comes to their lives.
right, but if they're of sound mind.
If they're
because
of
I
sound
also
mind.
work for APS. I forgot to mention that.
He's like, by the way.
Yeah, so you can go to a home that, you know, a family is reported that's unsafe, and you get there and they are able to make decisions. So you have to leave
Yeah.
them where they are because
Yep.
they can make that choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's we get a lot of stuff too, especially in ED. You know, people be out in the middle of the night, people who are off their meds for whatever reason, they have a crazy disease process, and they're out, you know, yelling at the light poles or something. And so
Yeah.
the police bring them in, and then they're not suicidal, they're not homicidal.
Right.
There's
Yep.
no law against yelling at light
Yeah.
poles, other than just keep
Right.
it down a little bit, you know. But
Yeah.
other than like sometimes there's people, the cops will bring them in for psych, and then you evaluate them like, well, they don't really meet any criteria
Yeah.
for
Right.
psych. We have to just let them
Right.
back out. They're allowed
Yeah.
to go.
And they learn the
Talk to light
system,
poles
right?
if they
They
want,
learn
yeah.
if I say no to all these questions, then
Yeah.
I don't have to stay, and I
Yeah.
don't want to stay. And
Right.
like, I'm happy yelling at my light
Yeah.
pole friend.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
It is. It's much
Yeah.
harder.
And it goes the other way too. There are people who's like, "Hey, I just need a place to stay for the night, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna say the right
Oh,
stuff to
absolutely.
get my turkey
Oh, yeah.
sandwich
100%.
and my
Is that-
crisis eval." Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, because
because they know it can take a while. Like, hey, this could be a couple days worth of
Yep.
roof over my head.
Well, that's what I was
Yep.
going to say, because I know that you've probably seen people that I've refused coming to the jail because they've said all of the things. I
Yeah.
want to hurt myself.
Yep.
Whatever. All of the mental health questions. So then they have to be refused at the jail
Yeah.
and go get cleared at the emergency room. Meanwhile, they're saying all the right things when crisis comes in. Now they get to go to a psych hospital because
Yep.
they've said all the right things. They're going to come back to jail, but it's
Yeah.
given them
It
this
gives them a
window.
delay, yeah.
Yep. This
Yeah.
window of
Yep.
I don't have to go straight to jail.
Yep. Yeah, we see that a lot in the ED. Not even just crisis, just people complaining of medical concern. Just so they
Oh
don't have
yeah,
to go right
chest
to
pain. That's
jail right
always
away,
chest
yeah.
pain.
yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then the officer has to be like, all right, we got to go get medically
Yeah.
cleared first. But again, they still still go to jail. You know,
Yeah,
and the
so
result is the
yeah.
same. But
Yeah.
you just delay it a little bit and
Yeah.
get yourself an extra turkey sandwich in the
Yeah.
meantime.
Because they're much better in the
Absolutely.
hospital than they are in the prison,
Yeah.
probably.
I don't know. They must be because everybody wants them. Half my patients say, "Hey, can I get a turkey sandwich?" I'm like, no, I'm here for belly pain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, thank you, sir.
Exactly.
But and again, this all kind of leads to the most important thing about all this treatment is the patient has to want it.
Yeah.
100%.
No matter what it is, if it's crisis treatment, drug rehab, you know, psychiatric, they have to want to go there for the most part. I mean, you can send someone involuntary if they're unsafe, but for the help to work, they have to want it to
They
work.
have to be able to participate. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
100%.
it's like if you're committed
Yeah.
by law,
Yeah.
what's your participation level going to be,
Yeah.
and how long is it going to take you to get there? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen that over and over
Well,
again, where it's like they have to be convinced to participate.
Yeah.
And that process
And usually
takes
it
so
comes
long.
with their medication.
Yes,
So
once
once
they
they're
start getting
properly
medicated.
medicated, then
Yeah.
even if they've been committed, they are engaged because, hey, I want to get out of here. I'm feeling
Yeah.
better. I'm thinking clearer. But it's getting to the point of the right medications
and getting
that
them
could-
to take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
remember
the beginning of that is rough. You've worked in a
It's- yeah.
psych house. The beginning of that is rough. There are a lot of IMs.
Yeah.
A lot of IM because we're not going to
So
take
I
our
am
medicine.
for our
Yeah.
listeners who are not
I'm
medical.
sorry.
Intramuscular, so that's a medication that goes in the muscle. It's a shot, and it's used in crisis situations where somebody is going to hurt themselves or somebody else, and you just need to keep them safe. And it is a
And quickly.
chemical. It's a chemical restraint,
Yes.
and that means that they have to be monitored very closely if that happens. So
Yeah, that's I have done that a lot. I've medicated many people. I've put a lot of people to sleep, more people than the
Yeah.
Sandman probably.
Yeah.
And
that's the
I do not
difference,
like using
too.
it. I don't.
no,
Yeah.
no one does.
It delays everything. Everything takes longer because now you got to wait you can't get a crisis evaluation. You got to
Yeah.
wait till you wake up, and hopefully you're now going to be coherent enough to talk to somebody
Yeah.
and get through the process in the right way.
But sometimes it gives them that rest they need.
It does,
like, These
yeah.
people
But
may
there
not have
is a
slept for
difference.
days.
Yeah, there is a difference between what you're doing in the ER and what is happening in the psych hospital because we're not putting them to sleep.
Yeah.
So you guys are able to medicate a lot differently.
Yeah,
like
no,
we
for
still
sure.
want
We
them
can-
functioning, but we need it quick. The point for us is like just quick.
Yeah.
Basically same medication they're receiving orally, but we just need it quick.
Yeah.
Where you guys are helping them calm down, because sometimes from a psych perspective, they're being sent out. Like say we have somebody, and we even in the hospital we cannot get them under control, and we have to send them back to the emergency room. They'll get there, same thing. You know, they're knocked out, and they're like, okay, they're good. We can send them back. Like, no, I can't do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's tough for both ends of that
Yeah.
too. It's like, all right, well, we calmed them down for you, take them back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, we can't.
Well, we could have done that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, and it delays everything. You really don't want to use it. But like you said, some people do. They're just so hyper focused on something that's not even a possibility that you just need them to. I just need you to reset right now. I need you to
Yes.
have-
Yeah.
I like to call it a therapeutic rest. You just need to just bring it down. You need to just hit the
Yeah.
reset button. And sometimes when they wake up, they feel like $1 million.
They're a totally different
And they are a totally different person.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're still the horrible person they
Yeah.
were before
Right.
you knocked them out, but they're a little bit sleepier, so a little bit easier to deal with sometimes.
Yes.
But it's the best. Sometimes it's the best thing we have when there's nothing else we can do. Like you try the de-escalation. For me, and again, the de-escalation, the respect of the patient can help a lot. If you be like, hey,
Yeah.
you're too ramped up. The doctor has made the decision. We're going to medicate you. I can give you a shot, or you can take some pills. Do you want to take the pills? And sometimes
Yes.
people be like, you know what? I'll take the pills because I'm like, I'm always honest with my patient. Like, you're getting medication either way. You can take pills, or I can give you a shot. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And again, that's me coming through on a promise.
Yeah.
And a lot of people be like, I'm not taking the pills. All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I get my shot, and they go to sleep. and they wake up, and they're like, they have a lot more respect for me then because they're like, all right, yeah, you did what you said you're gonna do. You know. So that is it's funny too because you'll see like some security guards as soon as like the patient starts like yelling, screaming, like, all right, let's medicate them. Like, no, let's try.
Yeah.
calm
Right,
them down
yeah.
first.
That's frustrating for me too because
Yeah.
I don't like the peanut gallery talking, especially if
Right.
I'm doing like I've started de-escalating and then somebody comes in, they don't even know what's
Yeah.
going on, and
Yes.
you're talking in the background.
Yeah.
Stop! You're making it work. Like
Yeah.
get out.
Yes.
I've kicked people out before. Like get out.
I usually when I worked with a lot of really good security. A lot of good security guards will just kind of be there and they'll let you do your thing. Some security guards are good at de-escalation. And I'll like kind of let them take over. Like my buddy George, I would be like, hey George, I need help with this guy. And George would come talk to him, and he was really good at that kind of thing. But like you said, sometimes like they'll just come in and there's too many people
Yes.
trying to de-escalate on this. Like you need like one kind of spokesperson because we're already overstimulating this person. A lot of times if I can see my patient starting to kind of come down a little bit, I'll ask the people to leave the room but just stay
Yeah.
in the
Yep.
wings, just
Yeah.
stay,
Just be alert.
stay in earshot so
Yeah.
you can hear if we start really going to town and you need to
Yes.
come help. But sometimes less people is better. Sometimes more people is better. If you got someone's like challenging you and they're getting
Yes.
very aggressive, like, yeah, come on, man, bring it on. And then you bring like 5 security guards standing behind you, and then they're like, oh, this is a lot of people for me to fight. I better chill out. And
Right.
sometimes that works. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they still want to fight. But
Yeah.
you got to read your patient.
Yeah.
You got to be good at reading their body language and seeing what they need. And that comes just with doing it a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, I've done that hundreds of times. I've
Yeah.
dealt with that person yelling, screaming at me and trying to.
And don't take anything personally
Oh,
either.
yeah.
You
Oh,
can't
that's
take
hard.
That,
Yeah.
that takes a while to get used to
It
too.
does,
As a nurse, you got to let that kind of stuff roll.
Yeah.
I have been called some of the worst things you could. I've been called the N word a lot, which is really weird to me. Because for all the
Our listening
audience, I'm Caucasian guy, and I've been called the N word a lot. I guess it's just a word of hate that people use for whoever. But I was
Yeah.
like, that's really weird. I'm getting called that. But okay,
Yeah.
go with whatever
Yeah.
makes you feel better when you get it out, I guess. So yeah, you just got to let that kind of stuff go. But I love what I do. I really do. I feel like I'm lucky, and I'm one of the people who really enjoys taking care of patients and being an ED. That being said, it is not easy. Like, I've been spit at. I've gotten every bodily fluid in the human body on me. Like, when's the last time anybody out there had like cerebral spinal fluid on your shoe? Like,
Yeah.
that's happened to me before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But it's cool because you get to see everything. You get to see all the people of the world. You get to see every different kind of person and how they deal with stress. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But yeah, it's that therapeutic rest. Sometimes it's just sometimes it's what you need. Sometimes it's that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
I hate to use it, but it's there if we need it.
Yeah, sometimes it's best for everyone, patient too.
Yeah,
Keep
and
them safe.
that's again too a lot. That is when we medicate people like that, it's about safety. It's about keeping them safe as well as the staff. Because sometimes they don't even attack staff. They'll just go in there and start banging their head against the wall or start punching stuff or
cut
just
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a patient one time. This is great. This speaks to like the availability of resources. We had a patient one time who was in there for seeking crisis treatment. He wanted a place. We wanted a place to go, and they said, "You're not meeting criteria. We don't have a place for you. We're discharging you." He said, "I made a discharge." I said, "You don't meet criteria." He said, "Okay." So he took his hand and he smashed a light bulb and he picked up a piece of glass and he slit his wrist. And he said, "Do I meet criteria now?"
Yeah.
And he did. He
Yeah.
got admitted.
Yes. Yeah. Now you
one
do.
of-
Thank you, sir.
One of our inmates went to the hospital. I forget what it was for, but she went into the bathroom, smashed the mirror, and used the mirror to cut herself.
Yeah, and that's that, and then that's tough too. And as an ER nurse in an ER setting, if you're responsible for crisis patients, you got to keep them safe. Think about all the stuff that's in an ER that you can harm yourself with.
Yeah.
Like
Everything.
I've had patients wrap the blood pressure cuff thing around their neck and try and hang it from the IV pole to
Yeah.
do their thing. So it's just hard, and there's so much going on. Like, again, you got 5-6 to 1 patient ratio. You can't have eyes on that person all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're lucky enough to have a hospital that has resources where you have techs and stuff who can be one-to-ones for these people, that's great. And you can have someone who has eyes on them all the time. But again, the one-to-ones aren't really allowed to physically restrain someone if they do.
Yes.
All they are is eyes for
Yeah.
you. Their job is to alert someone else if something happens and someone else comes and take care of it. They're not there to like jump in.
Right.
So that's difficult to do. That takes time for that process to happen. And, someone can kill themselves in an easy way.
Yes.
Really quickly.
And,
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say in minutes.
Yeah.
Because in psych hospital, you're rounding every 15 minutes. There's somebody rounding every 15. The same in a jail, if they're in the infirmary, everybody in the infirmary is rounded on every 15 minutes. So, you have that. But in a hospital, in an emergency room, you might
especially
have
when
a
it gets crazy,
patient-
man. It's tough.
You might have a code or an emergency on another patient, and here's your other patient sitting here maybe 30 minutes or more.
Yeah, it can be a long time. Like, codes can take, which we'll get into that. Like, codes can take hours sometimes, and if that's your patient, that's your only patient. You still have 5 others you're supposed to be taking care of, but for the next hour and a half, you're not coming out of that room.
Right.
So I guess that's a good segment, good transition. You did it perfect. We'll talk about codes now. So, for the layman's, a code is basically when you're getting chest compressions on, you're having a cardiac arrest, your heart stopped for whatever reason, you're about to die. So a code is us trying to bring you back to life. That's chest compressions. We got to take over your airway. We got to breathe for you. We got to get your heart to pump. That's the biggest thing. Like your body's about to die. You need your basic function back. You need your heart to work. You need your lungs to work. For everything else to work, you need oxygen. You need blood. So that's what we're trying to do as a code, is to get your body jump started back to its homeostasis. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. I think it's important for people who are not in healthcare to understand that it is not like it is seen on TV.
Not even a little bit.
It is like, yeah, it is like I can't watch a whole lot of medical shows. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Because in the medical show, they do 5 rounds of, like 5 compressions and then breathe once in their mouth and they pop up like, oh my gosh, woo, we should go get a beer now.
Right.
That does not happen. Yeah. Codes do not go. Codes can be very, very ugly.
Yeah.
Because
and compressions. I feel like people that are not in the medical field do not understand
how
compressions.
Compressions is a doing compressions, pumping on someone's chest to keep their heart moving, like doing CPR, is a physically exhausting workout. It is very hard. You have to push very hard. You have to sink the chest 2 inches down every compression. You're pushing that person's heart down 2 inches 100 times a minute. You're boom, boom. You're really trying to get this heart going.
And you have to let it come back.
And
you're pushing out the blood for their body and letting it get the blood back.
You got to let it recoil. You got to let it come back. You got to let it recoil. And you're doing that 100 times a minute. That's just the compressions part. That is physically exhausting. You got to push hard. You break ribs.
Yeah.
You break ribs a lot.
That's how you know you're doing it well.
Yeah.
Minus pediatrics, who are a little more flexible.
Yeah.
But there's no other way to do it.
It is physically damaging to the body. So like post codes, people, like if you are lucky enough to make it through a code, a lot of times you're going to have other internal physical trauma that needs to be treated afterwards on top of whatever it is caused your code in the first place. So it is not like it's seen on TV. Post codes, if you do survive a code, there are a couple different outcomes. It's very rare that you're up and walking again and walkie-talkie and out having fun with your friends.
And it's like outside of the hospital CPR, it's like an 8% survival rate. Inside the hospital, it's something like 15%, 17%. It's not a high, unfortunately, it's not a high number.
Yeah, even when you're doing CPR is not a super efficient way for your heart to beat. You're not circulating blood to all your toes and fingers. If you're lucky, you're just getting blood just to the vital organs that you need to just keep staying on, to the brain and the lungs. And then if you're lucky to get a heartbeat back and you can get breathing again, we do stuff like we'll cool you down, we'll throw ice on you and try and cool you down and try and preserve like all of your other organ function as much as we can and try and bring it back. But there's a lot of times, like even if you do survive, a lot of your organs don't. Like if you live, not all of you might, you know, so stuff dies, you have to live without.
You don't always know the mechanism behind the arrest, right? So if it's like a trauma arrest, they've got other injuries that could be pumping blood right out of an aortic rupture, right? You could just be creating further damage because you don't know the mechanism if someone was found down. Yeah,
I've been part of that kind of code before. Like we're doing compressions and they call the code finally, and you go to roll them over to do your postmortem care, and it's just their whole back is just black and blue because all their blood is just in their thoracic cavity or inside their body basically. So all that work you did is just kind of making it worse. It just made them die faster, really. So, but you don't know, like you said, you don't know. You gotta do the job, you know. Yeah. So, so it's definitely not a scene on TV. Some of what I'm going to talk about is very gross as part of the code. So this is my disclaimer: if you get grossed out easy,
if they've made it this far,
I think
they
they
could probably make it a little
That's
further.
True.
Yeah.
So when there's a code, like again, you don't know why it could be. It could be a drug overdose. It could be your body. Your disease process just finally took its last toll on you. So, but like doing these compressions a lot is one thing. You're going to break ribs. You're going to do a lot of physical damage to the body as well. We need to intubate you. We got to stick a tube into your throat. We got to take your airway. We have to do your breathing for you. Sometimes it goes really well and you got a wide open neck and we can get the tube in right away and we start breathing for you. If you have something happen to your neck, maybe your neck got crushed, we can't get your airway, or you just have really thick body habitus and we can't get the tube in, then that makes it difficult. And I've had just people, as we're trying to intubate, they're vomiting at the same time.
Yeah.
That happens.
Don't have a clear airway.
Once you get the tube in, you start doing compressions. Now there's blood squirting out the top of the tube and like spraying everybody in the room. So it can get very, very messy. So that is one of the main things that I would encourage nurses to think about. If you're going to get into this, you're going to see a lot of very ugly, disgusting things. But for me, I like it.
Yeah.
I like being a part of it. Not the dying part. I like trying to help save people.
But that is like something important, right? Like know what you're going to be okay with.
Right.
Because there's things that you're going to be okay with that other nurses won't be.
Right.
And we need all the nurses.
Yes.
We need the
Oh,
nurses who
100%.
can handle hospice care, handle emergency department, and those who need to be med surgeon or who need to do geriatrics.
Yeah.
And we need all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because you are a nurse doesn't mean you're gonna have to do
Yeah.
gross compressions like I do.
Right. Yeah, because there's all kinds of nursing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
100%.
many different
So
ways.
don't let this podcast
Yeah.
scare you if you were considering
Yeah.
nursing.
It can also, and it's funny because I've seen codes. Codes can be a very crowded place too, because you need a
Yes.
lot. You need a lot of
Yeah.
hands. Like think about like if we're trying to bring you back to life, that's going to take up a lot of resources. So you're going to need at least a doctor. You need somebody calling the shots. You need a doctor or a practitioner of some kind to tell you what to do and when. You're going to have at least one RN. You need 2 is good, more is better. But think about if I'm the RN, that's my patient who's coding, and there's another RN with me helping me pass meds. I have 5 other patients besides this one. That RN also has 6 patients. You got like 11 patients right there not receiving care while me and this other RN are handling this code. And if you're lucky, you have like 3 or 4 RNs doing the work that needs to be done, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen during it. You got respiratory therapists. If you're lucky, you got techs to help do compressions because, like
Gotta
I said, that's
switch up.
physically exhausted to sit there and try and do compression. And then someone switches out, and then you got to like focus on trying to give medication to your patient at the same time. It's like you're like sweating and it's a mess. You got respiratory therapists in there, and a lot of times too, in some hospitals you got a lot of the looky-loos, but they need to be there too. They're like students, medical students and
Yeah.
stuff who they all want to like see what's going on and see what's happening, which they need to because it's important for part of their learning. But a lot of times it's just extra body in the way.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, get out of the way.
Yeah.
And then of course you got all the people, the family and other
Yeah.
people in the ER just all watching as the whole team goes into a room and starts to, work on a person. So it's like a whole show.
And in a good code, somebody recording.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Everybody has a
100%.
job and everyone,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. So you have, it can get real crowded, which sometimes that's a good thing because you need extra hands, but sometimes there's just too many people in the way. So again, that's the responsibility of like the doc or the leader of be like, hey, if you don't need to be here, please leave.
Yeah.
And then, because you got to have, after you're done, if you get pulses back and stuff, you got to have like x-ray machine come in the room. So then everybody's got to leave. It's a lot of coordinating care, but at the same time, this person is still, even though you get pulses back and stuff, there's still a good chance they're circling the drain. So you need to be close by. So, it's a delicate balance of literally life and death. So, but that's, it's part of the ER. It's part of like why I wanted to do the job.
Yeah.
So.
And it's trauma, like you said, if we have family in the room, you have to consider it's also traumatizing for them because
Yeah.
they may not have ever seen chest compressions and they have seen it only on TV and like, well, you did the chest compressions, why aren't they back? And
And that can
That's
be
so
that can be
hard.
very difficult. I've been in both of those situations where there has been family present. One of the like my first cut I was ever part of, there was family in the room and they're like screaming at the patient, like, come back, you got stuff to do, like we have plans, we need you for, and this kind of stuff. And that was rough. Like, but that's not really the only person who can decide if that's a good thing for the family to be in the room during a code is the family themselves. Just again, this is me speaking for myself. If one of my family members was coding, I would want to be there to see it only because I know what I know.
Yeah.
Like I have the knowledge to know, is this going the way it's supposed to or not? As a lay person, if you have a family member who is coding, it is a very difficult thing to see.
Yes.
Some people need to see it. They need to get closer. They need to see like they're working on me. They're like other times, like, cause otherwise usually when there's a code going on, we have a patient come in, we start working the code. Then the family shows up. Usually they'll put the family in the side room and the doctor, one of the doctors will step away and go talk to them and kind of let them know what's going on. And then sometimes, I don't know if they always give them the option to come take a look, or sometimes people will ask them. If they ask them, most doctors will be like, you're welcome to come look. If they're a good doctor, they'll warn them like, this is what you're about to see. Cause it is, there's tubes coming out of everywhere. There's a lot of beeps and noises going on everywhere. There's, like I said, there's bodily fluids all over the place. It can be very, very messy. There's trash all over the floor. So it looks like chaos. It looks like we don't know what we're doing, but it's all very controlled. Especially when you have a really good team. Like everyone, all those people in there are anticipating the next move. Usually 3 or 4 steps ahead. So we're ready to go. When it's time to give this med, we give it. When it's time to do this, we give it. When we can shock, we shock, or whatever it may be. But to a person who doesn't know that, it can look and feel very scary. And for that to be the last memory of your family member, I think would be rough for a lot of people. So that's just my advice. I'm not telling anyone do or don't go watch your loved one being coded. I'm just saying, if you don't know what you're in for, it can be very, very ugly.
Well, I mean, we see that in homes. Like if a patient codes at home, there's not really a choice. There's not somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
That family's there. Sometimes they've been doing the CPR, and then we go and take them. And it's really hard. Like I remember situations where it's like they have a pulse in the home, and by the time we get them to a hospital, they don't anymore. And then they walk in the room expecting that we've made them better.
Yeah.
And no, actually, it's gotten much worse.
Yeah.
And then that's a shock and surprise for them that they now have to realize all these things have changed.
Yeah. I don't have any exact numbers on what statistics are about how many people live after code or don't, but I can't imagine that the amount who live is higher than the people who don't.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Out of hospital it's like 8%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first day in the ER as a tech, someone came in and it was a code first. I mean, it was like my first minute. Like they were coming in behind me, and it was very traumatizing.
This is what work is going to be like all the time.
Yeah, very traumatizing.
Yeah, that can be. Yeah, especially first day. Like,
Yeah.
oh wow, this is harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my first 5 minutes being there. Like, whew.
So I guess there's a couple different outcomes as far as codes go. Obviously, if you live, you're going to go to the ICU where they're going to try and care for you, do their best to find out what caused your code in the first place, correct it, and do their best to get you back to a normal person. A lot of times you'll be transferred to sometimes the ICU you're at doesn't even have the high level of care that you need. You can be transferred to someplace else that needs to be, take care of you, or unfortunately you can pass away. So just because someone passes away, they're still my patient. Just because someone's dead doesn't mean they're not. They're still my patient. They still need care. I still have stuff I have to do for them. So that can be difficult too. Again, because you're sweating, right? The doctor calls time of death. Your patient's officially dead, and everyone else leaves the room. Like we're done. So now you have a room with your patient in it that is probably ankle deep in just trash and all kinds of stuff on the floor. You have all this equipment in there that you don't need. Just everything's in the way, and your patient's a mess. And you also have 5 other patients you haven't seen for probably the last 45 minutes to an hour. So that is a very stressful situation to be in. But you just kind of take it one at a time. Eventually. So aftercare, as far as like for those who don't know, when you pass away in the ED, for me, we're gonna get you cleaned up as best we can. I do like to try to facilitate family coming to see them in ED if they want. Again, that's not always a pretty sight either to see your deceased person right after they've been coded. We do our very best to dress them up, make them clean them up, get some clean gown on them, some clean sheets or whatever it may be, and do our best to make them look presentable. But it's still not going to be a pretty sight. But some people need that, and I completely agree. A lot of people need that closure. They need to come in and say goodbye and talk to them, like tell them that one last thing you didn't get to tell them. By all means, please do. And I think I've said this before. I talk to all of my patients, whether they can understand me. If it's a demented patient, it's just babbling about nothing, or someone who's fully coherent. I'll talk to them, tell them what to do. Hey, I'm Brock. I'm going to give you some fluids. Like, hey, I talk to my dead patients too. Hey, I'm really sorry that you had to go out this way. I'm going to get you cleaned up. I'm going to see if your family's here to come in and see you. I'm going to get you packaged up and get you ready to go. So it may seem weird, but I do. I talk to them. I think it helps me.
Yeah.
It's just good nursing practice, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So you get them cleaned up, and then hopefully if there's family there for them, great, you can facilitate. And that can take a while too, because sometimes like if someone passes away, we notify our family, oh, I'm 2 hours away, I got to come see them. So you have, you have a dead patient sitting in the room that out of respect, you want to let that family member come see them. But again, you're in a busy ER, a monitored room where your dead patient is sitting is a valuable commodity. So that's the tough, again, you're trying to manage resources in a life and death situation. Right. So you do your best to facilitate family coming in, see them, say goodbye if they can. And then after that, you get put into a body bag. All of your belongings that stay with you get a tag on it, as well as we do toe tags. It's actually a real thing. Yeah. It's not a movie thing. Like we actually put a tag with your information on your toe. We put a tag with all your information on any belongings you have come with you. We do put you in a body bag. We zip you up that is one of the things that does happen on TV. That's real life. We zip you up and put your tag on the bag. And then from there, that patient will no longer be my patient once they go to usually the morgue after that. And then from there, usually the funeral director or someone, whoever the funeral home is, will come and pick up the body and take them wherever they go. So that patient is still my patient until they are off out of the ER in the morgue. So it's important to me. I think it should be important to everyone who does aftercare to still remember that that's your patient. Your job is to take care of that patient.
Yeah.
So,
And even in other settings, if a patient passes, it's the same. You know, you clean them up, make them presentable. And I do want to mention for people that are not nurses, it is an honor to do that.
I agree. I agree. Like I said, it can be tough to do, especially when it's, you know, if like I worked in a peds hospital in a peds ER for a year. So if you have to, you know, zip up a small bag, it can be tough, but it is important. It's again, it's what you can, the best thing you can do for your patients to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And then there is a part of the other kind of, you know, one of the many, many things on the nurse's to-do list is that if you do have a patient who passes away, there is quite a bit of paperwork and phone calls you have to make too. So we have to fill out, you know, death paperwork. And then we have to call the ME because you have to tell the ME what happened. Like if you say, hey, I'm recording a death. And then you have to ask you a bunch of questions. They'll ask you like who their primary care doctor is, the circumstances of how they died. They usually ask you like vital signs, like what you guys did, how long was the code, and that kind of thing. And then they will determine if they think they need to investigate further, or they'll release the body, be like, no, we're good, you're okay. And then we also are responsible for calling the Gift of Life. That's the donation, you know, organization. So you are responsible to call them and also record the death. And then you kind of tell them what happened, the circumstances of the death, and patient's background. And then they'll tell you if they can use anything or not. Most of the time they can use just about something from just about everybody. Yeah. So, and then they usually kind of take it from there. As the Gift of Life is very good about like talking with families and trying to get them to agree to donation, which in my opinion is, I mean, what are you going to do with it?
Exactly.
Let somebody else have it. I mean,
We've learned a lot about that this year.
It's going to rot away. So just let somebody else help them out. But that's everyone's individual choice, you know. So this is something too that's kind of important, and not necessarily codes, but something we'll see a lot in the hospital is just taking care of someone who's dying. Like someone who you're not going to code. There are people who are DNR, DNI. So for do not resuscitate means I don't want chest compressions. Do not intubate means don't put a tube down my throat. Which as a nurse, I think it feels a bit of education for the public is it really doesn't make sense to have one and not the other.
Right.
If you're going to, like, some people will say, like, oh, you can do chest compressions on me, but I don't want to be intubated. It was like, well, if we can't control your airway, it doesn't matter how many chest compressions I do. If you're not breathing, you're still going to die.
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, you can intubate me, but don't do chest compressions. The same thing is like, well, we can't circulate your oxygen and you're still going to die. So, but that's just what that means. So, but you do have patients who are DNR, DNI. So even if they are going to die, you're not allowed to do anything about it, which that can be a weird situation to be in too. I've been in that situation many times, where it's like their disease process is taken over and you can see it. Their monitor, labs, whatever is telling you this patient is on their way out. So there was I want to talk about the first time I ever saw that. I was my first year as a nurse. I was still working at the on the floor at the, like, that step down floor I was talking about, and we had a patient. It was DNR, DNI. And he did not have any family in the area, and no one was coming to see him or whatever. So we're just basically watching the monitor, kind of waiting for him to go. And I was lucky enough to have a veteran nurse on the floor with me at the time, and she could see it coming. And she said, all right, come on, we're going to go in this room and help this man pass away. So she took me and one other, like, rookie nurse in. And it was a older black gentleman. He was just kind of laying in the bed. He was just kind of sleeping, and we're just watching his monitor. His heart rate is what we call Brady down. His heart rate just decreasing. It's going, 40, 30, 20s, and then eventually he just flatlines. And then, so she goes in there and she's like, and we were like, what should we do? She's like, nothing. Just sit there. She said, if you want, you could talk to him. She said, hold his hand. So I did. I held his hand till he passed away, and then we did our aftercare. So I think that is important too, because my wife had asked me a while ago when I was talking about, like, preparing for the podcast and stuff. She asked me, she says, does anyone die alone? And while I'm sure people do, I haven't seen it. When I work, usually whenever we know someone's going, there's always someone there. Even there's no nursing care to be done, like because there's
Yeah.
nothing left to do. But I've seen nurses go in and just sit next to them and just play some music, and then like we've been in, because sometimes that process can take a while. Like we know someone's about to die, but it can take an hour, it could take a day and a half. So I've been in situations before where we all just kind of take turns, like, hey, it's your lunch break or whatever, just go sit with this person until it's time, So I think that is something that I think a lot of nurses would do for their patients no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's part of just kind of being a nurse, is just being there for them. Sometimes there's nothing you could do, just be there.
And to be fair, some patients wait to be alone.
Yes.
Like
They do.
Like
They
really,
do.
Yeah.
people have. I don't want to say they have some control over it, but we have seen so many situations where it's like you wait for that last family member, and the last family member makes it, and the patient dies.
Yeah.
Or they are surrounded by loved ones for days and days and days while we're watching them like
Yeah.
transition and no, they are absolutely actively
Yeah.
dying and we don't know why. And then everyone leaves
Yeah.
and they get a moment of silence and they're like, okay. And because they don't want their loved ones to witness it. Right.
Yeah.
There's like just something that happens intrinsically. That's like, they have a little bit of control there. It's like some of them want to be alone.
Yeah.
Some of them
I
want
think you're right,
everyone
yeah.
around them. Some wait for the last person. We've seen that over and over again.
Yeah, I can believe that. It's just pure willpower alone. A lot of people have it. Just,
Yeah. Or just something they've been holding on to that they just need. Or honestly, sometimes it's overstimulating and it keeps their brain really active. And then when it's quiet, it's like, okay, just okay.
It's
Like
time.
we
Yeah.
tell families all the time, if the CNA comes in, by the time they're done getting them clean, they might have passed
Yeah.
because they just get comfortable.
Yeah.
And whatever was bothering them, they get cleaned up, they get more comfortable, and as soon as they get comfortable, they can just go. And
Yeah.
it's very peaceful.
Yeah.
And usually the CNAs all know that, at least in hospice care, they're like, okay, I need to call the nurse before I start. Like they're very well aware
Yeah,
of the
they get that
signs.
sixth sense about it. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
The,
Yeah.
the more you do that kind of stuff, you get a feeling for it. And I mean, I see that in ED all the time too. Like you get like kind of like a sixth sense for like, oh, this patient
Yeah.
Yes.
is gonna take a turn for worse, and we need to have someone see him sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And that just comes with just doing
Yep,
it, just
definitely.
seeing it, just like I can see in that person's body language is something not right.
Yeah.
So that's important. Like again, going back to like triage, that's important. Like a triage nurse is like basically like the second charge nurse almost. Like you have a lot to do with the flow of the unit. Like, but it's also your responsibility. Like if you triage someone and you make the determination you're not sick enough to jump the line and get a bed, I'm going to send you back to the waiting room. That's your patient now. Like you're responsible for their care as a triage. But that could be 30, 40 people sitting in the waiting room. That's your sense. You're the only RN, you're the only healthcare professional, the only practitioner who has seen them is you and the registration. The only two people they've seen. Registration can be a responsibility of those people.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you. So that can be a very tough situation to be in. I don't think a lot of people realize like how stressful that can be. Like I have had to send sick people back to the waiting room. I don't like doing that, but sometimes there's no other choice. You can't.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do. No room at the end and no place to put anybody. You can't go anywhere. So that can be tough. But yeah, I guess like again going back to like just caring for the dying, and the most important thing was me just like I said, talk to them, keep them clean. That's important too. Like you don't want to have someone soiled. You don't want to pass away in your own pee.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
100%.
You know?
Absolutely.
So it's just keep constantly check them and just make sure they're as comfortable as they can be as they go. That's all you can do sometimes. That can be a tough.
Yeah.
That could be a tough assignment too. It's not a lot for you to do as a nurse, but it can be just tough waiting for your patient to go.
Yeah. And then, if someone's been struggling and they've been sick, also as a nurse, you're
Like how much
I don't wanna
longer are we going to do
say-
this?
yeah, because it's for them, like you want them to be at peace.
Yeah. Yeah, like this person has been in pain. This person has been miserable for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's peaceful for them to
Yes.
get some relief from the pain and disease they were dealing with. So
Yeah.
that's always kind of nice to think about too. And I guess that's all I have about like codes and stuff.
Okay.
We probably should have a guest on to talk about medical aid in dying at some point because that's a whole other dynamic.
So as I could probably answer these questions now. Probably, right?
Yeah.
Are they good?
Yeah.
So
Listener questions.
Yes.
Our first time having
Yes.
listener questions.
we're breaking barriers here
Yes,
at
we
Because of
are.
Eli, because this is a recorded podcast, but we're taking live questions.
Yeah.
I guess semi-live questions.
Yeah.
So before I came on, I asked Amy, I was like, I don't know. I could talk about the ER for days and days, but I don't know what people want to hear. So
Right.
can you like ask your listeners what questions might they have for me? So we got a couple here that were actually pretty good. So one was, overall, what is the most difficult challenge you faced that general public typically would not realize? That's probably what I actually just talked about, was being in triage and having sick people that I can't treat right away. I can't. I don't have any place to put you. There's no beds open. We already have a code going on in the back. Like there's someone dying in the back. All of our resources are involved in that right now. You're very sick. You need to be seen right away, but I have no place to put you. You have to go back to the waiting room. That is a very difficult sentence to have to tell someone. Like they're like, I'm sick, and I say, I know. Go have a seat.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
That's probably one of the most difficult parts of my job as an ER nurse is that.
I'd say too, like walking from a code into the patient's room that's like
And then
just
they-
waiting to go to the bathroom or like
Yes,
asking for a
and they're
sandwich or
angry
something,
at
and they're
you over waiting.
and it's just like you can't bring one to the other.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about I'm never going to remember this guy's name, but the football player who coded on the field, and because he got struck, right?
Yeah.
He had the tamponade, and it's like everyone on that team, they were like, we can't play, we can't do anything because of what we just witnessed.
Yeah.
And it's like the uproar of healthcare workers do
Yeah.
this every day. They
It's like, I have to
a
go
code
clean up someone's poop
that-
now.
Yeah.
Yes. And I now have to go and deal with the angry family member because they've been waiting for a drink of water and
Yeah.
we weren't allowing them until we assessed them, or we've been waiting for discharge,
Yeah.
right?
You
And
told
it's
me you're
just-
going to bring me a blanket an hour ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm trying.
Yep.
Trying to
get
save
it right
someone
now.
next
Yeah.
door.
Yeah, but you can't say
Sorry.
that. You
Yeah,
just say,
exactly.
yes, I'm sorry. And
Yeah,
then,
that's,
it's coming up.
That could be tough too. I've
hard.
actually been in this situation before. Like that happens like if
It's
you're
all the time.
Yeah, if you're the code nurse, like your patient codes, when you walk out that door, you have 5 other patients who haven't been treated for like 5 hours. I had one time, it was a really long code. We were in there for like an hour. It was exhausting. I was doing compressions too. So like, I try to get out doing compression if I can help it. It's a lot of work, but I had to work it on
Such a
this
good
one.
ab workout.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
good
Like
for you.
I've been sore the next day. Like my arms would be
Yes.
sore. I'm like, man, why are my arms sore? It's like, oh yeah, that's right. We coded that guy
Yep.
for like an hour last night. But I've come out of a room just sweating from code, and I looked over and I saw my little old demented Meemaw, who's got paper thin skin. It took me 20 minutes just to get her little 20 IV in her hand in, and she's in there with that IV in the hand in it, digging in her own poop.
Yep.
Yeah.
And smearing it on her bed. So I was like, oh man, now I have to go clean
have to
her
go
up
do
and get
that.
a new IV. You know? So you got to go from one right to the other because
Yeah.
Yes.
again, it's like coming back from vacation. You got 20 million emails. As soon as that code's over, you have 20 million tasks that have not been done in the
Yeah.
last hour.
Yeah.
And patients need labs. They got to get the tests. They need meds. And you got to catch up on all that after you just had someone die on you.
Right.
Yep.
That takes some practice
Yes.
to get used to.
Very
It can
much
be
so.
tough.
Yeah.
So that would probably answer that question. That's some of
That
the tough
and
stuff.
there's coworker dynamic. People think that team members just work as a team cohesively,
Yeah,
and you
that
can
could
run into
be-
situations where you're like, okay, we just don't get along, or we have differing opinions on this, or doctors who are just
Yeah.
like making orders that you don't necessarily think are the right next step,
Yeah.
or overstepping in a way, and it's like, this is the ED, like we cannot take this on also, or you know, you've got all that to think about.
And it's tough too because a lot of that like tensions can run high when you're in all that, and like when you have people who are clashing in the first place, and then everyone's tense at the same time because nobody thinks they're doing anything right. That can all go really wrong.
Yeah.
Or
Or in a place where you don't have a doctor right there. Like there are facilities
Yeah,
where it's
that's-
nurses only,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're trying to make these calls, and like someone's on the phone with the doctor, and it can get tense if people don't think that you're doing something
Yeah.
the
Right.
right way, right? And then you've got to walk away from that and go take care of 10 other patients.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a lot of times too in the ER where not just in healthcare where you're waiting on another department to
Yes.
do something and for you to finish your job, and you keep calling like, hey, I need this. Can you finish it? Like, oh yeah, we're getting on. We're trying. But again, they're probably busy and short staffed too, like the rest of everybody is. So
Yep.
it's just it can get frustrating, and people get frustrated with each other trying to get it done. Some people are just lazy too. I mean,
Yeah.
there
Yes.
are a lot of roles in the ER. I have seen very good doctors and nurses. I've seen very bad doctors and nurses. So any role in there can make or break really how well your shifts will go or how well
Yeah.
healthcare goes that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I can take any assignment if I have a good team,
Right.
if I'm on the floor with the right people.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's see. Here's another one. In your opinion, Are various topics of situational training easily accessible, or do staff members have a difficult time finding the appropriate resources needed to handle other components of all types of ER visits? So I guess that means, like, do I feel like I have resources to help me do my job? It sounds like that's what that's asking. There are resources available to me. Like if I'm struggling with like mentally the workload that I'm having, I do have resources I can contact through either my insurance company. A lot of hospitals too have like someone you can talk
Like
to,
an
like,
EAP, yeah.
especially if you have like a rough patient, like you have like, you have like a pediatric death or something. A lot of times like a supervisor or someone will be like, hey, if anyone needs it, we have someone available you can talk to. So we do have that a lot. Which I think a lot of nurses, there are some people who take advantage of it. A lot of nurses are just kind of like got that tough
part
skin.
of the job.
It's like, hey, thanks for the offer. I got work to do. Let's see. Oh, here, this is a funny question. Aside from your patients trying their absolute best to be cooperative, patient, and calm, what advice would you offer to assist with a smooth visit? A couple things there, actually. The number one, as we kind of talked about, is you got to be patient. You're patient. So that we really are trying. Most of the people you meet in the hospital nowadays, if they do get a lunch break at all, it's only a half an hour.
Yeah.
And most of the times they aren't getting one. A lot of times we have a hard time just getting to the bathroom or getting a sip of water in. So patience is key. Just do your best to be patient. And I get it. Like you're sick and you're in the ER because you're having a bad day. No one comes to the emergency room because it's like, hey, this is a good day today. Let's go to the ER.
Yeah.
So we get it that you're having a rough day. You're there because it's a bad day for you. We're doing the best we can to get through. And then the other probably most important thing I could think to advise patients is be your own advocate for your healthcare. Like when the doctors comes in, because doctors are in a hurry, especially in the emergency room, when they're in a very big hurry and they kind of talk like we talk, like they'll talk in medical terms like they talk to a nurse, and they tell you, this is you have AFib, we're going to give you some meds for it, and we're going to get you admitted to the hospital. Like, but I might not know what AFib is. Like patient education is important. So if you don't know what your doctor's talking about, don't yes and nod at him and say, okay, ask him. Like, I don't know what that word means. What does that mean? What are you treating me for? Like, oh, we're going to admit you to the hospital. Like I've seen so many doctors come in and say to a patient, all right, we're going to admit you to the hospital. They'll be like, okay. And then they turn around and walk out, and they'll be like, oh, we're going to admit you to the hospital. Yeah. Why? I don't know. Doctor said I need to stay.
Yeah.
So knowing why you're getting what you're getting, but that's important.
Yeah.
I mean,
in those situations, I don't feel like healthcare, we do a very good job of setting expectations with patients and families, right? It's that, okay, we got this lab and now we've made a decision and here's the decision we've made on your behalf. Yeah. But like, we don't know that the registration person has just come in and asked them questions that they didn't have the answers to for the last 15 minutes. And the nurse came in and out real quick, grabbed a blood pressure and left, didn't explain anything. And now the doctor's here like, okay, we got this lab and we're sending it. It's like, wait, we don't take into account that. So with the patient's piece is also that like, it's okay to say, hang on, I need a second so that I can process this.
Yeah. It's okay to slow them down. Be like, hey, I have questions. I want you to answer them. It's okay to be your own advocate. And you probably get some pushback. You get doctors and nurses who are annoyed because they're in a hurry and they're like, oh, all right, what do you want? What do you need? Yeah. But you need to push for that for yourself. Be like, I want to understand what you're doing to me. Like all patients should be doing that, I think. And there are very few that do, in my experience.
Right. And depending on the age group, right? Like, some of them are just like, whatever the doctor says goes. And some of them are like, wait, WebMD told me. Right? You never know what you're going to get when you walk into that room, what kind of patient you're going to get.
I have a cousin who works in healthcare. He told me you guys should be doing X, Y, and Z tests. Be like, well, we're not going to do all that. Because it's not here to treat you.
Right.
So, we and again, too, as a practitioner, it's important to listen to what they're saying. Like, even a lot of times people are telling you stuff, you're like, that's all wrong. You're completely wrong. Like, we're not going to do any of that stuff because it doesn't make sense. But it's important to, again, show respect when you're telling them that. Like, you can tell someone that, like, this is a horrible idea. I'm not going to do that because it would probably harm you more than do any good.
Yeah. Right.
But you have to, like, be respectful when you tell them that.
Yeah. And sometimes
that can be hard to do.
Yeah. But that respect on, like, the first or second interaction when you really need to explain it to them can save so much stress down the road. If they understand from the beginning and you've shown them, I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm here to help you get out of here or get to wherever you need to be. That will save you from 3 interactions later, having them be like, you didn't explain anything to me.
Yeah.
And now I really don't understand. Now I've messaged my whole Facebook page and they all said that you were wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it just saves that much heartache if you take that time in the beginning.
In the beginning,
right?
to help explain, like,
Front load it.
This is the path we're going to put
Yes.
you on.
Yep.
And a big thing for me is, like, it's important for patients to make decisions about what that path is going to be. Because
Yes.
sometimes it could go a couple different ways. Like, we can either do this for you and try this, or we can do this for you and try this. And patients don't always get those options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They aren't always offered those things. So I think that's important as us in healthcare to let the patient kind of help decide if they're knowledgeable enough to make it like, this is what I can do for you, or this is what I can do for you, and help let them be their own advocate and have a hand in their own healthcare to a certain
Yeah.
degree. Sometimes
Yeah.
you can't help, like, this is the only thing that'll help you. We have to do
Right.
this, you know?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Or allow them the opportunity to change their mind.
Yeah.
correct.
If it gets like, wait, this isn't going how I thought it was going to be. And
Yeah.
I've changed my mind.
Yeah, and that's important as a patient too. I think patients need to realize that they don't have to necessarily do anything that we're telling them to do.
Right.
Unless you're there because you're, homicidal, suicide, or we're going to make you receive this care we're about to give you. But anyone who's just walking in for whatever reason, in the ER, if at any reason you don't want to be there, you're allowed to get up and
Yep.
walk out. As
Right.
long as you don't have an IV,
Yeah.
we're not allowed to chase you and bring you back. That's like kidnapping. So
Right.
Right.
you don't have to do anything that we say you're going to do. But it makes sense if you listen to what we're telling you and then make your own decision as to if we know what we're talking about or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but patients should be included in the treatment plan
Yeah,
all the way around, but I feel like that doesn't always happen.
yeah, and I think patients have better outcomes. I feel when they're involved in it and they take responsibility for their care. It's like,
Yeah.
this is the doctor didn't do this to me. Like,
Yeah.
we did this. to
Right, because a lot, and I'm sure in a ER setting, it's a little harder to have the conversations, but I think it's beneficial to have the conversation with the patient instead of, you're at the nurse's station, the doctor's dictating all these things, like, this is what we're doing, this, and this, and then, you're going in with the plan, but the patient wasn't included in any of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
They're just being told what's
Yep.
going to happen.
I get that a lot. Like, the doctor will go see a patient and talk to them and do their, and then they'll come back, put in all these orders, and I'll go in with like meds all drawn up, ready to go. I'm like, all right, I'll put your IV in and give you all this stuff. Like, well, I don't want any of that stuff. No,
Right.
I'm not doing all that. Like, I
Right.
don't know. I wish somebody
Yeah.
would have like talked about it before I got all
Yeah.
this stuff in my hands.
Exactly.
Wasted all this med,
Right.
So it's important to just make sure everyone's on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see here. So last question from the fans. It says, I want to know if they each watched The Pit, and if so, how true to reality is it? I'm obsessed with that show. So I watched a lot of medical like TV shows, both before and after I was a nurse. Before, they were much more entertaining. Now that I'm a nurse, every time I watch a medical show, I just see all the stuff that's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like, this is funny. This is only something like a nurse would get. But like in movies and TV shows, I hate when they have the nasal cannula on wrong. Like they have it through the nose and then around
Yes.
the back of the head, like it's a
yeah.
bandana. The nasal cannula is designed to go in the nose, around the ears, and then back down the front like a bow tie.
Yes.
So if you have a patient who has neck trauma, you don't have to move their neck around to give them oxygen and save their life.
Gosh.
That's the huge pet peeve just out of all TV movie shows.
Yeah.
Yep.
There are
They stop breathing, so they put an arm
Yeah.
breather on them.
Yeah.
You're like,
stop breathing.
that's helpful.
Yeah, and it's just like it's drama, which there's enough drama in
They
ED.
shock
You
a
don't really have to
flatline. They
yeah.
always love to shock a flatline
yeah.
on TV.
Yeah, a flatline. You can't shock a
Cannot
flatline.
shock
That's
a
not coming back. Yeah. And then the other thing there are only two shows that I've seen that are I feel accurate to real life. One is The Pit, 100%.
agree.
That I do not watch The Pit because it's too much like
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
I've come home and I watched and I was like, man, I had a stressful day where let me put this show on. I was like, holy cow, this is just I feel like I'm at
Yeah.
work again. So I watched probably like 4, maybe 5 episodes of it, and I can honestly say everything that happened in every one of those episodes I saw in real life.
Yes.
Like every situation that was in those I've seen so yes, that show is very accurate to real life as far as I'm concerned. The other show, which is kind of funny, that gets it right pretty well as far as I'm concerned, is the hospital setting, is the show Scrubs.
Agreed,
Oh,
100%.
As a comedy show, but
100%.
like I saw him. There was one show where they were he was teaching them how to put in a chest tube for the first time,
Yeah.
and that's put in a chest tube. For those who don't know, is like your lung collapses for whatever reason. So we need to put a tube in between your ribs so that we can drain the air or the blood or fluid, whatever's in there, so that your lung can expand back again. That's a pretty complicated procedure. It's dangerous. It's a very emergent procedure. You usually have to do it in a hurry. And they were doing this in the show. I was like, holy cow, they did that just right. Like, that's how you're supposed to do it. Like other shows can't even get the nasal cannula right.
Right.
These people
Yeah.
put a whole chest tube in. It's a comedy show. It's just for fun.
Even the revamp of it, because there's like this whole conversation about like the budget.
Yeah.
And what do we spend the money on?
Yeah.
Is it the education department with the
Yeah.
CPR dolls that are falling apart? Or is it this surgical thing that's going to make us a lot of money?
That's
and which
every
way do we go?
hospital
It's
system
every
I've been in,
hospital. I agree. Scrubs is 100%.
The one that
so accurate.
there's
And you go from laughing to crying in 5 minutes. And you're like, yep, so real life for healthcare.
that's one of the closest ones I've seen. Now I can't speak for Grey's Anatomy. I know a lot of people love that show. That show was kind of getting big as I was a nurse, so I didn't really watch it too much. And then one day I was like, it was on TV. I had nothing else to watch. Let me try it. So I turned it on, and the scene I was watching, the two doctors were in a room and they were talking about something. I don't even remember what they were talking about, but they were both like changing the sheets on the bed.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't. I turned it off right
do
away.
not do that.
Yeah, I was like, I've never seen that
Yeah.
happen.
No,
I've seen maybe
never.
one doctor ever clean a bed, and that's because they were in a hurry to get a patient into the bed. They
Yeah.
just ripped the sheets off and threw a new one on. They weren't in there talking, like, oh, let's fluff the pillow up.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So that one,
does
I
not
never
happen.
actually watched it, so I never really gave that one a chance
Yeah.
other than that one scene. I was
Well,
like,
it
I
does
get-
paint a rosy picture of
Yeah.
doctors
Yeah.
and what they're going to do. And I'm like, they are 100% not ambulating that patient.
Yeah.
They definitely are not.
Yes.
I will say with the pit, the way that as I experience it is, it's like they take everything you could see in like 5 years of
Yes.
healthcare and condense
It's
it into
in
one
one
day.
day.
You're
Yeah.
never going to see all of
Yeah.
those things. Even the 4th of July thing, it's like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I know the 3 things that are definitely going to happen on this
Yeah.
episode. I know someone's hand's going to get blown off, right? Someone's going to be drunk, and like all the things that you're going to see. My favorite part of watching the pit, which is terrible because it's actually like gives me like anxiety, is the hand sanitizer. Because before and after every door, the doctors are hand sanitized. And you can just see they're just so done. It's like, I'm like, no, you're supposed to do it fast. And there's like, I can't even do it. I can't even do this anymore. And I'm like, oh, even the actors are irritated at the hand sanitizer.
it's the most important thing in the hospital. Clean
It
your
is
hands.
the most
Yeah.
important thing.
Yep, 100%. That's day one in nursing school. Clean your hands every
Yes.
chance you get.
Yes.
It does help though.
And I would so much rather wash my hands every time than use
Me
hand sanitizer. Just
too.
do
Yeah.
not
Me
like it. Do
Especially
not
when
enjoy
you
it.
like get a little cut on your hand or something. You got to use it
Yes.
50 times a day.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
causing yourself
And
torture
I'm like,
every time.
this does not feel like it's getting my hands clean at all.
Yeah.
At all. But they did. So they had a patient die in the ED who was a DNR in the last season. So spoiler alert if no one's watched it. But they brought in they had a death doula. And it was a good goals of care topic, storyline. Because they
Yeah.
had to take this person who was on hospice, who had very advanced cancer, and get her from her admission to the ED. Why did she come? Why do hospice patients end up in the ED? And then to
Is this the
increasing
one
the
that didn't wanna go
medication.
home?
Yeah. So they
Yeah,
were
okay.
trying to get her home, and then she changed her mind, didn't want to be home. And so it became this, she's going to die in the ER. We're going to try and get her a bed, but she's going to die before that. And it was this a complicated conversation around morphine, which, having worked in hospice, it helps people
Breathe.
who feel like they cannot breathe.
Yes.
And helps people in pain. And it's a scary drug to a lot of people, but it is necessary at that end of it. It's not going to make someone die.
Yeah.
And they did kind of have a little piece in the pit where she said something to the extent of it's the secondary effect, but they know that it's helping. And it's but it's not going to kill someone
No.
who isn't already dying.
Is it
Right.
already that?
And it's not even going to kill them.
Yeah.
it's just going to make them comfortable in
Yes.
the end,
You
right?
want them to be comfortable when they go. And
yeah.
that's- Sometimes
And
that's
it
the
was
best
an
way to do it.
interesting storyline the way that they did it, because the death doula was someone who also worked in the hospital as a nurse. So
Okay.
they all kind of knew each other and were having these outside conversations. But the woman led her own advocacy to
Yeah.
die how she wanted to die, and it was an interesting storyline for some people.
Yeah,
And
and
I think
that's
she was nominated for something. The actress
Oh, wow.
nominated for an Emmy or something.
that's another thing we run into a lot in the ER too. Is when is it the right time to die?
Right.
And whose decision is it? And is it the right decision?
Mm-hmm.
As a nurse, it's never my decision.
Right.
So
Yes,
you have to respect
never.
whoever's decision is to keep going or not keep
Yeah.
going or whatever they want to do. You have to respect that that's what they want to do. Even if I'm like, this is crazy, this person is not going to last much longer. Why are we doing all? We're just like, we're ravaging this person's body. To me, I'm like, doesn't make any sense. But it's my job.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, when you're caring for people long term and you see them declining and you try to have the conversation with the family about this might, you might want to consider talking about hospice, no, absolutely not. They have this misconception that hospice comes in, they die. But hospice comes in and they die because you've waited too long.
Yeah.
You're missing out on all the benefits of having hospice involved. Hospice is quality of life.
Yeah, hospice is not giving up. Hospice is helping you pass comfortably.
Yes.
As comfortably as you possibly can.
And
we see a lot of people.
Quality.
Yeah, we see a lot of people when they come in at the right time on hospice, they get time at home with their family. They live longer because they're not putting chemo in their body, or that the doctors sometimes have not told them is only palliative in nature, right?
Yeah.
This isn't going to cure you; it's going to palliate you.
Right? Yeah, they hear chemo is like, oh, that's how you fight.
Yeah.
That's how you win.
Yeah. And that those conversations don't always happen at that level, but the hospice team can come in and really like manage the symptoms and give you better time with your family and just help find out what's important now, knowing what they know.
That's a hard hurdle, I feel like, for a lot of patients and families across. Is like, there's nothing else that can be done. This is the end. Like, this person has to die. There's nothing anyone can do about it, and it's hard for a lot of patients to.
It's hard for a lot of healthcare workers.
It is too. Yeah.
It's really hard not to offer hope, which is hope is important, but it's also hard not to offer. Well, if I do these 5 things to your body, if I put you on dialysis or I offer you radiation, then it'll give you 6 more weeks. So why wouldn't we fight for 6 more weeks when in the meantime, it's not beneficial to them. It's going to give them symptoms and side effects, and they might die earlier because of that anyway. And it's this false idea of I'm fighting against this thing instead of like I'm allowing the natural process that's going on in my body, and I can be in my own bed and I can be with my family. And like in COVID when they couldn't have visitors and they were just like put on ventilators and no one could even come hold their hand.
Yeah.
It was,
that was a really COVID. I mean, obviously changed the world, but it specifically changed. I mean, there were codes in COVID where it's like, what's the point? Why are we trying to code this person? Because they would put them in a room and we weren't allowed to go in. And the only person they're sending in is one doctor and one nurse. Both had to put on the respirator holes, get up first before you even go in the room. Well, that takes 5-10 minutes.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not. You're not gonna have any positive outcomes there.
But you have to be able to say to the family,
you gotta try. You gotta do what you can.
Yeah.
Even again, a lot of times as a nurse, you have to do some things you're like, there's no benefit to what I'm doing right now, but I have to do it.
Yep.
I have to go through this hurdle.
Those are the harder parts.
Yeah, that can be very frustrating part of the job for sure. It's outweighed by when I see people do well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's always fun.
What are your favorite cases to take on? Do you prefer the trauma? Do you like the sick? What do you like?
I wouldn't say I necessarily prefer.
Well, sure, but if you're gonna like pick an assignment, right? Like the 2 are coming in at the same time.
So I do enjoy the traumas, like the people who are sick. I like trying to help people who are sick get them turned around. Like, all right, let's figure out what do we do. Let's get them down for CAT scan. Let's get these labs. Let's see what we're dealing with. Which part of this is causing what's happening, and let's reverse that however we can, or slow it down, or whatever. Like that kind of like detective work, I guess. Like part of the job is good. I do enjoy that. I wouldn't say I necessarily prefer, but I am very good at dealing with my crisis patients. Like I talked about, like just you show them respect and just let them do what you can for them, and if they see that you're doing what you can for them, then that's okay. Yeah, they usually do pretty well. You get a lot of good outcomes. Some people are just too far gone that they can't focus on whatever anyone says to them. But to see someone calm down and do it the right way you want them to, like to de-escalate someone. I like de-escalating people. Like some people are like, oh man, I can't wait to tie this person down and put some meds in and put this boy out. I don't like doing that. I don't like medicating people that way. I like getting people to focus on themselves, on their own care. Like you are here for a reason. I'm here to help you get through this. I can't let you out. I can't give you what you want right now. I can help you get there if we work together. You know. So I like when that goes well. I like when that works. And sometimes it works great and they get the treatment that they need. Sometimes it turns out they're like, no, I don't want treatment now. I'm just going back on the street. And you see them a week later.
Right.
Yeah.
But then when you see them a week later, they remember you and they're like, okay, I know you're going to do it. And
like, I trust
that goes
you.
smoother.
Yeah. I trust you, so I'll work with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes then it will only be you.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. But it'll go a lot smoother this next time around sometimes if you're lucky. You know? So.
Do you feel like the increasing prevalence of like the urgent cares has helped the emergency rooms at all? Because I know that was the ultimate goal, is like take the people trying to see a primary care in the ED out.
Yes. Urgent cares are a huge help. They can be, again, it depends on who's working urgent care. Some people at urgent care are just like, no, go to the ER. We can't do it. Some urgent cares, they do try. They'll do the x-rays and EKGs, and they'll give them some meds and try and get them feeling better. Be like, you feel better? You think you can hold off till you see your primary care, later? And they're good. Sometimes they're like, we don't have the resources. You need a CAT scan. You got to go to the ER, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that is helpful. I think not a lot of people understand it still. They're like, not a lot of people know that urgent cares are there. And the other problem is too, a lot of urgent cares you have to have insurance to go there too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the ER, you don't need insurance. You can
That's
just
true.
walk in, you just off the street. You could have fallen out of the sky and you broke your leg. You can go in the ER with nothing and we'll treat you.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, I guess, about urgent care. But I think the urgent cares do help. I think they're beneficial to us in the ED.
Yeah.
I wish there was more, and even they get overrun too.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like kind of towards the end of COVID, when it was like people wanted to be tested, right? Like the urgent cares were getting a lot of that, which is, it kept them out of the ER, which was helpful.
Because we were getting flooded to COVID. Like people just came just to get a COVID test, and we like got to the point where like we can't just bring people. Like you have no symptoms, you're feeling fine. You're coming here to get swabbed. You're sitting around people who do have symptoms. You're going to get it just by coming to get your test done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, just by sitting in the waiting room waiting for your swab, you're going to catch COVID.
Right.
And I'm going to swab you. I think incubation was like a couple weeks or whatever. So even though I swab you now, I'm going to tell you you're negative, but you just caught it. So a week later, you start having symptoms. So it was a lot of like trying to educate the public on that was really, really tough for COVID. Like trying to tell people like, stop going out, just stay away.
Yeah.
So true.
And like, another thing that kind of annoys me about patients, like if your baby's not the patient, don't bring your baby to the emergency room, please. People are like, oh, my baby, find someone to watch your baby. There are germs in the ER. Your baby does not have an immune system yet, like the rest of us. Like, if your baby's not a patient, find someone to watch your baby. Keep your baby.
Yeah.
That is like, as a nurse, I'm like, if
Yeah.
I am not
Why is
dying,
this-
I'm not going to the emergency room. I will avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
We did have one more question, and it was very specific, and she sent it to me. I think I sent it both to you guys. She had texted it to me because she didn't want to make it public. So I don't want to put like the entire story out there because she was trying to be private. But basically it was how to get over the anger of how a specific situation when it was a code. She didn't feel like the staff did what they should have done. And it was a poor outcome. And how do you get over the anger of that? Or maybe even I was thinking we might be able to discuss like from like our perspective, sometimes it looks different than like the patient's family's perspective.
Right.
You know, as they're watching us, they think we're doing all the things wrong. You know, I don't know, because I don't want to put her whole question out.
Well, it's kind of like what you were talking about with you walk into a code and it looks like you just had a hot mess and you have no idea what you're doing, when really there are reasons for things to happen. And each level of care in healthcare
and settings too make a
right,
difference.
healthcare settings handle things differently, and that's because of what resources that they have in front of them, and what their policies are. Like there's certain places where like there's not a doctor there,
Right.
So there's only certain policies and procedures I'm allowed to follow as a nurse that don't put my license in jeopardy.
Right.
Like there are certain things I can't overstep,
Right.
and that can look terrible to a family.
Absolutely.
That can look like you're not doing anything. It's like, I have to call the doctor first. I can't just do it. And that's really, really hard, because I do feel like the media has set up the public for not being able to understand those pieces of it. They just see, oh, someone goes down, and there's going to be people everywhere, no matter what. Like if you're out on the sidewalk, there's going to be a doctor and a nurse and an EMT, and everyone's going to be there and be able to take care of them right away. But that's not always the case, and people have to be careful of what they're doing and be sure they're following the procedures and doing the right things.
Right.
Whether that's
In
calling
that
911.
setting.
If I don't have a code bell, I've got to call 911 still if I'm
Right.
in an outside setting,
Yes.
outside of the hospital. And there's got to be like certain steps taken.
Yeah.
And I don't have a clear picture of what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, I may not know
And some
that
of
somebody's circling the drain if they're sitting
Right.
somewhere outside of an ED and not monitored,
yeah.
right?
And some of the settings I've been in, there's no crash cart.
There's none.
So,
yeah.
you know, we're calling 911 like you would at home
Yeah.
because there's no resources
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I was actually part of a code one time. It was a behavioral health patient who was on the psych floor. So they were admitted
Yeah.
on the psych floor being treated. So it's not like they were a patient in the floor. They had an IV and everything. This
Right.
is a person who was just walking around in their street clothes, like getting their treatment. They just had a heart attack
Yeah.
on the psych floor. So
And it's not set
there's
up the
no
same.
resources there. I went.
No.
It was
They have to be sent to the ED.
Yeah.
it was me. I went. So one of our techs was taking the I think it was taking like an IO or something up to the code. It's like they called down. They said they need an IO. For anyone who doesn't know, it's an intraosseous. It's like if you're in a real bad off situation, you need access right away to give someone medication or to help save their life. If you can't get an IV, you can drill into their bone and go right into the bone, and you can inject medications and stuff directly into the bone. It has the same effect as being in a vein. So a quick, easy fix for if you have no access, you need to get like epinephrine or something into a patient right away. You drill this
Yeah.
right into their bone, and you got a way to give them meds. So that can only be done by a doctor. So the tech was taking the IO up somewhere, and my section is one of the rare times it was like everyone was handled, everybody was tucked in. I was just waiting for like results or whatever. He said, I'm going up this code, and I was like, where at? And he said, it's on the psych floor. I was like, on the psych floor? I was like, let me come with you in case he needs some help. So we go up. It was just an ICU nurse there, and the only doctor that was there as part of the code was one of the psychiatric residents.
Yeah.
So imagine how much experience that person has
Right.
trying
Right.
to run a
Yeah.
code with no resources. I don't even think. I think we had a crash cart. We didn't have like any IV access.
No,
we didn't have
'cause you
monitor.
can't have
We didn't
that
have
in
oxygen. We
psych.
didn't have
Yeah.
respiratory way. No way to intubate this person. All we could do is like zip a IO in and give meds. And I hand the IO to this psychiatric
no.
resident. He's like,
Yeah.
"What's this?"
Oh no. Yeah.
All right. So we
Yeah.
put an IO in, and just they eventually went from there to the ICU.
Yeah.
When she left, she was still alive. But that can be tough too as an ER
It's
nurse.
hard. Yeah.
I don't always know the outcome of my patients. Like,
Right.
Right.
most of the time, I don't know if they live or die. Like even my codes, who I get pulses back and I send them to the ICU, I go right back to the rest of my assignment, and it's very rare that I find out whatever happens to them. So you got to be okay with not getting that closure too.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
there's a lot of times I don't know what happened.
Right.
to
And
my
it is,
patient.
yeah. And in this particular situation, the anger over the idea that not enough was done is, whether you have healthcare knowledge or not, it's also normal.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
if the anger is the only thing you can think about after a loved one has passed, that's something that you probably need to talk to somebody about. Like when we can't get past our anger and grief and be able to have the other emotions and be able to talk about other things, or like put that energy into something where you're doing something for somebody else, right? That is like a barrier in getting through your grief process and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
being able to have a healthy
Yeah.
outcome.
Yeah. And speaking from a personal experience, I kind of understand that. My aunt was in a nursing home. She was actually a victim of domestic violence. Her husband shot her, and she didn't fully recover. Ended up in a nursing home, and she was on a soft diet. And the CNA brought her a BLT in bed. So she's laying in bed, BLT. I've been on a soft diet. If somebody gave me a BLT, I'd
man.
want to eat it.
My house that thing,
She,
yeah.
Yeah.
She sure did. She choked,
Yeah.
went into cardiac arrest,
Yeah.
got sent out to a local hospital. They were unable to handle it, sent her to a much larger hospital, and they worked on her all night. And she eventually passed. But she passed because of their negligence.
Yeah.
So obviously everyone's super angry
Yeah.
because she survived all of these things.
Yeah.
And then,
The
you know,
BLT.
yeah, BLT
got
took
her.
her out. Yes.
Yeah. And they didn't have the resources at that facility
Yes.
to do what we
Right.
would have loved to have seen in an
Right.
ED somewhere, right?
Right.
Like we would have
So-
loved to have seen everything immediately there.
Right.
And that
But because of the
level of
setting-
care was not. Ugh,
Yeah. So, you know, my cousins handled that how they handled it. But you are very angry because, you know, she'd still be here, you know, but you do have to work through that because while, you know, we are professionals, we're also human.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of human
somebody,
element.
yeah,
Yeah.
somebody obviously made the mistake. Wherever that mistake started, I don't know. Was
Right.
it in the kitchen?
Yeah.
And they didn't give her the right tray, but then also the person that took the tray, why didn't they double check it? So there's, you know, there's things in place to protect the patients, but if it only takes one person.
Yeah. And that's what I think that's what scares a lot of people is it doesn't take a whole lot to go wrong
Yeah.
in the healthcare setting
Yes.
for your healthcare to deteriorate.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways that can happen, like whether it's negligence or just by accident or just people are lazy at their job. I mean,
Yeah.
there
You
are
have to
good
hope
and-
it's not that.
yeah,
I hate
100%.
to hear
But
that.
there are
Yeah.
good and bad doctors, nurses, and
Yeah.
everything. So, unfortunately, I can understand someone being so angry that my loved one is dead and they don't have to be.
Yeah. Yes.
The best way to get over that is to just you got to do your best way to find whatever coping mechanism it is helps you let it go. That can be different for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You have to you can't change it. You can't bring them
can't
back
change
no matter what you even if you prosecute everyone responsible, the whole entire hospital system goes down and you take them all down with you, your loved one's still going.
Right.
You're still going to have anger. So the best advice I can give is you have to find your own coping mechanism. You have to find what brings you back from the anger, like brings you to the side of I have to deal with this. I have to accept it.
Yeah.
Then I think once you do, the anger will start to dissipate. It may not ever go away. It might always be
Right,
there,
never, yeah.
but I think if you can get it to decrease, it'll help you live your life a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard. There's no good solid pathway through that.
Yeah.
We see a lot of anger in the emergency room. I mean, again, no one's at the emergency room because they're having a good day.
Right,
You know, no one's like every other doctor's office. People make an appointment. They want to go there. They're looking to be there. Like at the emergency room, most people didn't wake up planning on going there.
Right,
So
yeah.
they're there because something went sideways on them bad in a hurry. So there's a lot of anger just dealing with the fact that I'm here and I don't want to
Yeah.
want to be, and that can come out in a lot of different ways. So again, being a nurse, that tough skin is you got to be ready for that kind of thing because you can have people flip on you in a hurry. I've had that happen too. Like I've like people sweet as pie. I'm triaging them like, okay, hey, great, all right, have a seat. We'll get you back as soon as we can. And they're like, I'm not getting back right away. What are you talking about? I'm talking. They want to talk to the supervisor. They want to talk to the bigwigs right away because you're not getting. They're not getting what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready to pivot with that kind of person a lot too, especially in the triage area because the triage again. I know I go back to that a lot, but it's you're the point person, I should say, and everyone in the waiting room is staring at you.
Yes.
When are you taking me back? You're the one who's going to be saying when I can go. Why aren't you saying I can go? You know, and that is a tough place to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that can be tough. You got to be ready for that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. We talk so much about grief and like the different things that people feel and stages they go through. Like just anger is sometimes the hardest to get past.
It is. Because there's so much to be angry about when somebody passes.
There is. There's a lot of you can point your finger a lot of different places.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And sometimes you just
Pointing
kind
it at
of
the
make up a
person who
reason to be
passed,
mad and you
too.
feel better about it. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels better for a
It
little
feels better
bit,
to be angry.
but you can get stuck there, and then you're not getting
Yeah.
through to the other pieces that you need to.
Right, you got to
or
get
that-
past that one. That's one of the boxes you got to check. But once you check it, you got to move on.
And I'm not saying this about the person that wrote in, but
Yeah.
in general, some things that I have seen in those situations is you can become so angry you alienate people who are trying to support you and other family members, and then they
Yeah.
don't want to talk to you about it,
Yeah.
and then it becomes this like cycle of you're not processing it because you're not talking about it because no one wants to talk to you about it because all you are is angry about it,
Yeah.
and it just there's no way to see past that
Yeah.
yet.
Right.
And that just makes it so it just isolates people more and more. I appreciate that the person who wrote in does acknowledge that
Yeah.
their anger,
Oh,
which is sometimes hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It can be tough. It can be everywhere. All right, so I want to take up all your guys' time. We've been here a long time, right?
Look,
So
we're getting the
I'm
wrap
getting to
up.
wrap it up soon.
We're
So-
getting the.
All right. She said, wrap it up.
All right, I have a couple quick things. I just have some advice I want to give to new people who are looking to get into healthcare or maybe thinking about healthcare. These are all things that I can think of that I wish I knew before I was there. If someone had said to me day one, like, these are things you should know, they have served me very well. So number one is always look at genitals with a buddy.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I second that.
As an emergency
It's so true.
Any kind of nurse really, but especially as an emergency room nurse, you are going to see and touch and handle a lot of people's genitals. That anyone can say that you sexually assaulted them.
100%.
Anyway, I've seen that happen before. Like a nurse put in a Foley catheter or catheter or whatever, and they got pulled into the office because the patient said that they were sexually assaulted. So always look at your genitals with a buddy.
Yes.
As far as IVs go, I like to toot my own horn here. I've been doing this for 13 plus years. I'm very good at IVs, but even as good as I am, I only stick a patient 2 times and then I'm done. It is not in anyone's interest for you to keep trying and trying and trying. I've seen nurses like who are probably like, oh, God, I'm good at IVs. I know I can get them. I know I can get this person. I'm not having anyone else trying to get my IVs on my patient for me. That's not fair to your patient. I stick them twice. If I don't do it, someone else tries. If they stick them twice and nothing, then you need to go find someone to do an ultrasound line or a central line. But don't let your patient just keep getting stuck. It's not fair.
Yeah.
This is one that's kind of important to me is never tell your patient that they're not going to die.
Right.
Even if even if they're there they slam their toe in the car door, it's like, I think I'm going to die. Never tell them they're not. Like because I have had people say to me, I think I'm going to die. And there have been patients where I'm like, you're right. You're about to die. And I have other patients be like, no, you're not. You're fine. You're just being silly. No matter which patient that is, my response always to them is, I hope not. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to prevent that from happening. Whether that's the person who is going to die and does die, or it's the person who slammed their toe on the floor. Is like, I'm going to do everything I can to prevent it for you. I can't tell you what the outcome is going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't know. They might have
Right.
a heart attack while they're
They
in
could.
that.
You do not know.
I have had patients sign in for something as simple as knee pain, and then an hour later they went
Yep.
into cardiac arrest for
Yep.
no reason. It
Yeah.
just happened. Patient teaching is very important. Make sure you tell your patients about their disease process. It goes along with like being an advocate for them. Let them know why you're doing what you're doing for them. And then one thing that is really good advice, especially for ER nurses, is your sickest patient first. What that means is there are going to be times, especially in ED, when you are overwhelmed. In the ED, no matter what time of day it is, as soon as you pick up your patient assignment, you automatically always have 5 to 15 things that all need to be done at the same time. And everything in the ER is stat. Like floor nursing is different because it's like, oh, your patient's getting meds at like 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever. So you can kind of plan out your day. In the ER, every time a doctor puts an order in the computer, they want it all done right away. So every order that goes in for an ER patient is a stat order. Like you need to have it done right away. So that can be overwhelming, especially when you're a new baby nurse and you're first on the floor for the first time. You got 20 different things and you're falling behind. If that happens to you, just stop and which is my sickest patient? Go to that person, do what needs to be done for them. Then when that is all done, you move to your next one. Who's the next sickest patient? And then you'll get through the shift. I have a little bit of advice for doctors. This is not to ridicule doctors at all. I love my doctors. My doctors, especially emergency room doctors, they work very, very hard. Emergency room doctors are a special kind of doctor.
And
this is
just to be clear, doctors, PAs, and NPs.
yes, all
Yes.
practitioners
the
of all kinds.
practitioners.
Yes.
Yes.
All the people in the ED who help take care of your patients are right. These are things I've seen practitioners do that cause me to respect them a lot more. So this is things I would recommend that you do if you want to earn the respect of your nursing staff. One is communicate to the RN. Don't just put in orders and expect them to see it and get it done. I may not be able to sit in front of a computer for an hour and a half,
Right.
and you put in orders. You're like, ask me why didn't it get done? Well, if you need something done right away, you got to come tell me. Like, hey, I just put this order in. Can we get it done sooner rather than later?
Right.
So always communicate with the RN. The other one is that I've seen is get your patient to blanket. So many times patients will be talking to the doctor, like, hey, you mind if I get a blanket? The doctors who come out and go get the patient a blanket and then bring it to them and then go about their day are the ones I'm like, all right, I like you.
Yeah.
Unless, you'd be surprised how many doctors come out of a room, they'll be standing right next to the blanket warmer and they'll say to the nurse across the room, hey, can you bring this patient a blanket? They're cold.
Yeah.
That happens more often than you would think. And then the other thing is just communicate to your patients. There's so many patients who, like, the doctor came in and said some stuff, and I'll say, okay, what did they tell you? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. That's all.
I think they're
That's a good one.
good. They were really good.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one was we talked about already is, like, give the patient options. Let them be a part of the care
Yeah.
plan. A lot of times, especially in the emergency room, we're in a hurry. We're trying to get our stuff done. We have patients. We just want to do what we need to do for our patients, but let them know. And if they have a choice, let them make a choice. It can make a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's all pretty much I have. I
Okay.
know
And you had a resource, right?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I have a couple resources.
Okay.
So one resource I would say if you want to help out is your local emergency room. You can DoorDash them their favorite snacks. We love food. Take it easy on the pizza though. We got so much pizza during COVID. Just send
Yeah.
us like a sandwich tray.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you want to spend some money, the American Nurses Foundation, they are a
Yes.
good charity. They help out nurses. They do scholarships and all that kind of stuff. The Florence Nightingale Foundation as well. If you want to look them up and contribute to them, they are an organization that helps nurses with all kinds of different stuff. And then other than that, like I did last time, I do want to recommend a couple of songs that I like that I think your listeners would like. Again, they are ska songs. I'm a huge ska fan. The first one is by Less Than Jake, and the title of the song is The Brightest Bulb Has Burned Out. And then the other one is a band called Millington, and the title of the song is FML. The F is a curse word, so just so you know, don't listen to it with the kids around.
Yes.
But these are two things I think apply to kind of the things I talked about a little bit.
Okay.
If you're struggling with mental health, that kind of thing, these songs can be inspirational, I feel. So that's all.
Very good.
Thank you.
I also wanted to mention one more resource that I wasn't aware of until I had started working in assisted living. I had one of my residents was a retired nurse and didn't have a lot of family. And I was trying to find a way that we could honor her at the facility. And I found there's an honor guard for nurses. So they will come to your funeral and they recite the nurse's prayer and they ring a bell and they release you of your duties. And they come dressed in their white with their capes, caps. And they have a lamp. Like, it's so sweet.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
And if you invite them to the funeral, they'll stand at the casket. So it's, I feel like I think it isn't, it's called honor guard, but it is an honor. And I think nurses do deserve that.
Yeah, it's a good send off. I like that.
Yeah. So for anybody that has nurses in their family, keep that in mind
There you
for when the time comes.
That's cool.
Yeah, a nice way to honor them.
Yeah, for sure. That's a cool idea.
Yeah. And I think every state has one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gonna look that up.
Well, thank you so much for joining
for being
us.
here again.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
I
guys. Thank you
enjoyed
so much
watching
for-
your
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every once in a while, I
pictures.
just saw myself staring at me. I'm like,
Yeah.
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 Saw that thing cycle through like 20 times.
Yep. Yeah. That's been fun though.
Yeah.
Nah, thank you guys for having me. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it, and thank you for letting me get the story of the ER out.
Yes.
I hope to all the nurses out there, I hope I got it right for you guys.
Yeah.
If I said anything that was false or untrue, I apologize.
Yeah, they can let us
but
know.
also,
Yeah.
nursing looks different in each state and
Yeah.
each
True,
setting.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
again, I'm only
You're
speaking from
telling your story.
my own experience. Oh, the things I have seen and done. That's
Right.
however else it works for you. It may be different, but that's
Yep.
what I've seen.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As always, thank you for listening. In closing, we hope we helped a few of you feel more validated, more heard, and seen. If you are supporting someone who has lost a child, please remember to say their name, talk about them, remember them. And as always, we are here because of Eli.